The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville is being presented by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman available at Sears, and in part by Toyota. Moving forward. Take a look at our starting grid. 18-year-old Joey Logano collects his career first pole and 7th of the year for Toyota. He'll be flanked by 24-year-old Brad Keselowski, who equaled his career best qualifying effort of 2nd. He will start on the outside of row 1. And while you look to see where your favorite driver is starting, we'll visit with our in-race reporter. That is the driver of the Miccosukee Resorts Chevrolet, Mike Bliss, who starts 3rd today.
Hey, Mike Bliss, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Yes, I do.
Hey, buddy, you qualified great, man. You're starting 3rd, but, you know, you're going to start this race during the day and end at night. Hey, how's this track going to change on you? Think you got a good enough car to kind of eat up all those changes?
Well, we're kind of planning on getting a little tighter towards the end of the run here, so we're kind of set up that way on our tire selection, and we got rubbers in the left rear, so yeah, we're kind of planning on getting a little tighter throughout the run.
All right, bud, we got an ESPN mailbag question. It comes from Vicky in Columbus, Ohio. The question is, do you look at the next 3 races as good opportunity races to get back into victory lane?
Well, this is probably one of the racetracks I really like. I think I run well here. I've won here in the truck, so this would be one of the 3 races that I'd really like to win.
All right, buddy, have a great race. We'll be talking to you later.
All right, and keep rooting this Miccosukee Chevrolet on.
Calling his shots for Mike tonight will be team manager and crew chief Mark Reno. Let's visit with Mark.
Hey, Mark Reno. Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got us?
Andy, I got you. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. You guys got a good car down there. But tell us how fuel mileage happens to play into this race a lot here at Nashville.
No, Andy, that's probably our biggest concern down here is our fuel mileage. We don't seem to pull quite the mileage some of the other teams do. And it actually cost us a good finish here at the first Nashville race, but you just don't know how circumstances are going to go, and hopefully things will fall our way.
Hey, 10-4, what are you going to have to do tonight to beat that car right behind you, Kyle Busch with that Dollar General car?
It's up to Mike. He'll just get up on the wheel, and if we got a new crew here going over the wall this week, and hopefully they'll get him some good pit stops, and we'll see where we lay out here with about 50 to go.
10-4, Mark. You guys have good luck down there. Thanks.
Andy, thank you, guys.
These guys carrying one of our 8 high-definition onboard cameras, and we'll show the others. Along with Mike Bliss, we've got Mike Wallace starting 9th in the Geico Toyota. Greg Biffle, who won here in 2001, starts 15th in the City Financial Ford. Bobby Hamilton Jr., hometown boy, starts 28th in the Smithfield Ford with our Craftsman onboard camera. The U.S. Border Patrol Chevy for Kenny Wallace starts 29th. Scott Wimmer, who won here back in March, starts 7th in the Holiday Inn Chevrolet. Kyle Busch has the Dollar General Toyota carrying our nationwide onboard camera. He starts 5th. And Brad Keselowski outside row 1. Good starting spot for the Navy Chevrolet. And how about another high-definition camera? Last week it was DJ Coppett took us over the wall. Tonight it is the front tire carrier John Booslow for the 25 team, and he will take us across the wall and the sights and sounds of pit stops here and all the action that takes place there in the hectic 15-second stops. Final stories from the pits. Let's check in first with Shannon Spake.
Well, Doc, one of the drivers looking to capitalize on the fact that this is a nationwide-only event is Kelly Byers. Back in March, Byers earned a career-high 5th-place finish here at Nashville, and he's been looking forward to getting back to this track ever since. He said he felt his team was just a couple of adjustments away from winning the race. And it shouldn't be that hard for them to make those adjustments this week because they have not driven that car, this car that he is in right now, since that race. They've been saving it for today. Now, Byers rolls off 18th, but don't let that qualifying effort fool you. He told me moments ago that his car is, quote, very, very good. Mike?
Well, Shannon, in comparison to a year ago, Mike Wallace is having a terrific season. So good, in fact, his crew chief, Bruce Cook, told me that this week, he told him he felt like a 22-year-old again. But confidence, according to Cook, can have a downside. Cook says that the more nervous Mike Wallace gets is when he has a very good race car. He puts a lot of pressure on himself when he has a car that he knows is capable of running up front. Indeed, he has that this week and ran inside the top 5 in both practice sessions. And with a little luck, he might be able to play spoiler tonight. Dave?
Mike, the last race that was contested here was run on March 22nd, and that was a day that Rudimann's team may have let one get away. Recall that late in the race, they were one of the cars that couldn't make it to the end on fuel mileage. You just talked about that. You heard Andy talk to the crew chief up there. So they went to work very hard on their fuel mileage. They've improved it and expect them to get better mileage today, still good horsepower, and maybe on a long fuel run, be able to make it further than they did in March. Jamie?
Well, Dave, because Carl Edwards is the defending series champion, it's, surprising to know it's been 1 year ago today since he won his last race. He went to victory lane here. But I asked his crew chief, Pierre Cattell, what their strategy has been. He said, we've been thinking big picture. But tonight, we're going to change that up. We're going for the win because once we get the win, everything else will come. Doc?
Thank you very much, guys. Take a look at this race tonight. It is a 300-mile race, 225 laps on a 1 1/3 mile racetrack. There's the pit road speed, 45 miles an hour. Pit window, that is crucial because fuel mileage had a major factor in who won here back in the spring. There's the banking, 14 degrees on the concrete in the corners. 4 cars headed to the rear, couple with driver changes, and an engine change in the 81 car for DJ Kennington, the Canadian driver. And, of course, Landon Castle had an adjustment on the sway bar. He had a problem with the rub on the tire and got against the side of the wall. Guys, how about a couple of sleepers to keep an eye on tonight?
I've been watching that Brad Coleman. This is a team that's based here in Nashville. They came in here with a lot of confidence. They got the sponsor on the car that sponsors the race. So these guys are very motivated. He could actually break through tonight.
I got to pick Marcus Ambrose. I really do. I mean, this guy is better and better. They've got the car working pretty good. Ambrose.
NASCAR's finest set to get it done here in Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. Glad to have you with us. Great crowd on hand. Could be an opportunity. It has been in the past for a young driver to break through. And Joey Logano leads into the green flag. Youth movement continuing up front. It's Logano in the 20 and Keselowski in the 88. Then comes the points leader, Clint Boyer, who got his first win at this racetrack, back in 3rd position.
I'll tell you what, that was a good start out of Logano. It comes from his short track days, Andy. He had that baby wound up, cleared out, and beat him down into turn 1, and that's what you got to do. You've got to get this good track position.
Got a little free wide action off turn 2.
Yeah, you were talking about, Andy, the 27 car, Brad Coleman getting racy early here.
Yeah, he must have heard me talking about him here. He's ready to rock and roll.
And I would think, guys, early in the race right now, this track's a little bit slick right now. It's been sitting for a long time, and that second groove has not come in really good yet, so I would expect most of the passing to be on the bottom of the track early here.
Couple of teammates, Stephen Wallace and David Stremme, who have been getting stronger and stronger right together. They're 66 and 64, although Wallace slips a little bit, and Stremme will look under him.
Okay, right here we go, Rusty. You got your 2 teammates racing each other hard.
I tell you what, at that point, Steve better get out of the throttle right there and settle back in because his car looks like it's pretty loose right now, and David's got a little bit better car at the moment.
We saw teammate tag last week with the Braun guys between Busch and Leffler, and these guys don't have any contact, but Stremme able to make the pass.
Well, we talked about in our countdown show, that'd be your worst nightmare to have 2 teammates wreck each other, but it's pretty dicey here early in the runs. These tire pressures are low, the track is slick. These cats got to be careful right now.
More on Joey Logano. Let's check in with Jamie.
Well, Doc, you mentioned it's the first time he started up front, and at the start of the race, Dave Rogers, his crew chief, said, buddy, look over at us. We are here for you all night long. Let us know what we can do for you. We're here for you. Go get him, buddy. And Joey Logano's doing just that as the team celebrates as he checks out.
Andy, you don't get to where Joey Logano has gotten in 18 years without remarkable maturity, poise, and composure. The young man doing a heck of a job holding on the lead here early on.
Yeah, Doc, but I'm still so impressed with this kid and what he's done. He's so young, and he comes in here with all this attention on him, and he's handled it so well. And he sits there, looks just like a veteran driver, hasn't made a bobble yet that I've seen.
You know, Andy's got so much confidence right now. I mean, you can't rattle him, it doesn't seem like. He's used to winning. But I tell you what, Brad Keselowski on the backup, he's not going to give him any slack right now. He's like, hey, what about me? I've been getting better, too. Give me a little loving, guys.
Now, these top 5 guys are not getting away. They're all right on top of each other here.
Yeah, right side of your screen, the 32, Kyle Busch now has joined the fray. And he slips a little bit. And, folks, Kyle Busch did not even get a single lap of practice in this car. As you heard, he was in Texas on Friday night where he finished second in the NASCAR Truck Series event. Had to go back to Pocono. Had a tough day wrecking the primary car at Pocono in the morning practice. Got the backup car in and then came here and first set in this car when he qualified.
That might be the best way for these guys to beat him, is keep him off the racetrack. Don't give him any track time.
They kept him off the racetrack. He still qualified fifth. They just can't slow this guy down. You know, there's something to be said about racing a whole lot, too. It really keeps you up to speed. And one thing I noticed when Cal qualified, he had one of the fastest speeds going down into turn one. He was not timid at all. He had a lot of confidence, and right now it's showing. He's not having to do anything except just get better and better now with the chassis changes.
You got these top 5 guys breaking away just a little bit, but they're right on each other. Nobody really showing any superiority so far.
Well, I think in this particular race, early going right now, what they've got to do is just keep logging laps, wait for that first pit stop, and that's when they're really going to know what type of changes they need in their car. Because right now, I'm sure they're telling them it's pushing, it's loose, it's doing this, it's doing that.
Scott Wimmer, the Holiday Inn Chevrolet that won here back in March, and the car just went by him. Good run early on for the 99 car of David Rudiman. Rudiman could be a factor, and this is his absolutely favorite racetrack, he told us earlier today. Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. Under caution for the first time tonight. Lap number 9 in the 11 car of Jason Keller. Looped around and brought the yellow flag out. Jason, all-time leader in career starts. We'll show you what happened to Jason here in the corner.
Cutting that one, but it looks like he just lost it.
Yeah, it looks to me like he just spun out all by himself. Let's take one more look here. Yeah, just got loose up off of turn 2. And guys, I was telling you, this track is really slick. And we watched Jason come down pit road after this happened, and he piled a bunch of wedge in that baby, so it must have been pretty loose. Some big-time adjustments.
Under caution, let's check in with Dave Burns.
And guys, when you're not leading the race, you notice things. Here's what Brad Keselowski said about Joey Logano in front of him.
Damn, he's got some power. Look at this. Yeah, we've been knowing that all year.
Now, Keselowski also said about his race car that it was just a little bit tight, hard to turn. They said make sure that your front blowers are on to cool those tires. Tim Brewer, down in our Chevy Cutaway car, where are the blowers on a race car?
Hey, Dave, look right here, folks. Instead of opening the brake ducts here, you need aerodynamic downforce. So we keep those closed, but we run an additional brake blower fan up here. And what we do, we turn it into the sidewall of the tire. That deters air pressure buildup, keeps the car from getting tight. Jerry?
Thanks, Tim. And, folks, those are our electric fans, and you can switch on and off inside the car. Andy, those things work. Those things move a ton of air.
Yeah, they don't pull from the front of the car like Tim said there. You don't want to open up those ducts in the front because it does kill the downforce. They can flip those blowers on and actually change the handling of the race car.
Setting for the restart here. Lap 13 of 225. Joey Logano has led every lap thus far from the pole. Keselowski in second. Boyer, the points leader, back third. Then comes Bliss, and Kyle Busch, and Cale Gale. Carl Edwards also there. Side by side, Cale Gale in the 66 of Stephen Wallace. A couple of young drivers. Marcus Ambrose, the guy you thought we should keep an eye on, Rusty, right there as well.
Yeah, Marcus had a solid car in practice, and I talked to him earlier, said they made a lot of chassis changes, kind of back to basics, and they really feel like they got a good car, and they fixed some of their problems now they've been having the first part of the year, so he's pretty optimistic.
Right along with Greg Biffle. We told you Biffle, one of the 6 drivers who got his very first win here at the first race they held at this racetrack back in 2001. There's Biffle right side of your screen in the 16 car, just in front of the 9. Let's go down and get more on Marcus Ambrose with Shannon.
Yeah, Doc, Marcus Ambrose wants to get back in that top 10. He's currently 16th in the point standings. Right now, the car is loose in and loose off, but he told his crew chief, guys, it's coming to me.
Now, loose in or loose off, that means as it cools down a little bit, the track should get a little tighter. And Andy, as you well know, that crew chief's talking to that driver. If it gets too loose, they just got to flat tighten it up.
Looks like David Rudiman's car is pretty good right now. He just passes Brad Coleman, making up another spot. But, yeah, you got to have that car. You know, loose is probably a good way to be right now because that will come around later on.
Yeah, that's the thing I was talking about. You know, a lot of drivers are dependent on the track to cool down and tighten up as the race goes on. But, you know, if you give up a lot early on in the run, And before it goes dark, and might get yourself in a wreck doing that type of stuff.
Well, that's where the driver's got to earn his money, Rusty. When that car's not exactly right, driver's got to make up for it a little bit.
I'm sure Jason Keller right now is saying that was a little too loose. Let's tighten it up, boys.
And that caution a moment ago, the 0 car of Danny Eflin was the lucky dog, and he was the first car one lap down, able to get the Aaron's lucky dog free pass to get back on the lead lap. Speaking of hustling toward the front, how about that 99 car, Dave?
He dives down low, Jerry, right where the shade is on the track right now. He's waiting for more of that to come over this speedway, because when he's in the sunlight, the car doesn't want to turn very well. Well, Carl right up behind him there. And when it's in the shaded part of the track, much better for Rudiman. So he made that dive down in that pass through where it's shaded right now.
Guys, David Rudiman is on a mission. Jerry Baxter, the crew chief, said when we came here in the spring, we were running third with 6 laps to go and had to pit for fuel because we had a carburetor issue, spraying fuel over the top of the engine. Said we had a good race car. Might have had something for him.
And that was actually a wake-up call for these Toyota guys to get a little better gas mileage and go to work on it, because anything that you focus on, you can make it better. Those guys went back and really started focusing on fuel mileage, and now they've got probably as good a mileage as anybody on the track.
Tell you what, Andy, though, when you're making a lot of horsepower and those things are running down the straightaway, it takes a lot of gas to do that, you know. And when you're making big power, you're burning fuel, and that's probably one thing that they're just going to have to put up with. You want the power, or do you want the fuel mileage? Well, they want both, though, don't they?
That's exactly right.
Battle inside the Wallace family here. Stephen Wallace and Uncle Michael at 66 and 7. They are battling for 11th spot.
I tell you, Steve-O's car is loose. That baby's just wagging the tail off the corner, and Mike had his front end up under the back of Steven. And that was fun to watch. They were both getting pretty loose.
Mike Wallace had one of the fastest cars in the final practice session last night. He was 5th quickest overall and said he thought he might have something tonight. And even though he didn't qualify as well as he would like, Michael said in the garage area, he said, I think when this race gets going and it gets cooler, we're going to be really good.
Teammate right here, David Strimy's putting a little pressure now on Brad Coleman. His car looks pretty strong, too.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with David all week long. He was fastest car in practice last night and told me this morning, or actually this afternoon, that he feels really good about his car. Feels like it's fast. This might be his opportunity to win tonight.
Yeah, these are 8th, 9th, and 10th. Wimmer, Coleman, and Strimmy on your screen there. Wimmer the 29, Brad Coleman the 27, and Strimmy the 64. Strimmy coming off that 3rd place finish at Dover last week.
You know, Andy, we've been talking about horsepower a lot, about how good the Toyotas are. Well, I'll tell you what, it's Richard Childress and the rest of these guys who build engines in this Nationwide Series. These guys have flat went to work and trying to catch up with them. And just what Brad Keselowski said, hey, they got more power than I got. I'll guarantee the Hendrick guys, they're going to be working hard too. Jamie, what's going on with that 20 car?
Well, he continues to check out, Rusty. He's doing a great job making everybody proud, but a lot of people want to know, how does a rookie come out and run this well? Well, this kid has put in some miles in a race car. Here at Nashville alone, before he was 18, he tested here 10 times in the new car in the Cup side. Now, he said that a lot of that information didn't transfer. He pretty much threw it out the window, but it's all about seat time, and this is the result that you're seeing. This kid started on the pole, dominating. Rusty, I want to know, how much experience did you have behind the wheel before you stepped into the Nationwide Series for the first time?
Well, I had a lot of American Speed Association time, the short tracks around America, Jamie, and those were cars I raced against Alan Quickie and Mark Martin. I got a lot of guys like that. We got to work on our cars. We got to build shocks. We really got to learn, and that was a great series for me to learn. But I did a lot of that, but hardly any nationwide time. And so, I mean, you got to really hand it to Joey. What he did in the Busch C Series last year, which Andy's basically a nationwide car right now.
The only difference in those cars are the tires. You know, when you look at the race car, they're the same. The only difference has been the tire they run on.
Lots of things happening early on here in Music City, back in the pack, but up front it's all about Jason Joey. And he is no ordinary Joe. Lots of fans on hand to visit with their favorite NASCAR nationwide drivers. We're underway here at Nashville Superspeedway.
They love their NASCAR racing in Nashville, Tennessee, the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville Superspeedway tonight. Our coverage presented by the Craftsman Company. As hot as it was today, the people came out.
Absolutely, and we're glad to see him. I'll tell you what, young Landon Castle, though, is on the move. He started dead last. He's moved up 17 spots. And look at my man Bobby Hamilton Jr., also on the move. He's up to 19th. I'm expecting big things out of him tonight.
Joey Logano has led all of the laps so far from the pole. Let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and set the strategies and thoughts on handling and the rest from some of the top runners. We start in the leader's pit, and that would be Jamie Little.
And Joey Logano sounding like a veteran driver coming over the radio just a moment ago, telling Dave Rogers what the car feels like. He said, we're pretty neutral right now. It's feeling good. Dave Rogers said, all right, on this next pit stop, when we come in, it'll be the first one of the day. We're going to put some scuffed tires on. It's the only set of scuffs we have, and then after that, it's going to be all sticker tires. Dave?
Jamie, Brad Keselowski's car is still just a little bit tight, but he very confidently told his team, if I could just get out in front, he'd never get me. That's a confident driver right there and looking for the lead somewhere along the line here, but not right now. Mike?
And Clint Boyer right now running third, but you've got to give a lot of credit to his substitute driver, a guy who shook the car down during practice while Boyer was in Pocono, and of course that's Stephen Light. Dan Derdorf, the crew chief for the 2-car, told me he was the perfect fit. Why? Because Stephen Light, when the teams were here back in the spring, was in the 21 car. They started the weekend off with the exact same setup as Clint Boyer usually uses. So Stephen Light certainly had an idea of exactly what Clint Boyer was looking for. He nailed it pretty good. Shannon?
Well, Mike, a lot of teams coming here to Nashville are able to use their notes from when we were here in March. But for Mike Bliss, he was not in his #1 car. He was in the 22 Fitz Motorsports car. So they've really had to go to all new notes for this driver and this car and this setup of this track. But this team really hadn't skipped a beat since they made the driver change. Mike Bliss running solidly in the top 10 in the point standings. Right now, the car is just a little bit loose on entry, but it's solid. Dave?
Right now, Kyle Busch running in 5th. He hasn't gained any position since the start of the race, and even though you might think he goes full out all the time, well, not when it doesn't make sense. And right now, the car has no grip. Crew Chief Trent Owens just told me he's biding his time right now. We need an adjustment on this race car before Kyle can really hustle it. Behind him, David Rudman, more shade, more better for the 99 car. A car that was 180 degrees different than he was expecting it to be in qualifying. So they had to go to work with the few adjustments they could make. They're also looking toward the first pit stop to make further adjustments on this 99. Jamie?
And Scott Wimmer running the same lap times as the leaders. He's been pretty racy back there with the 64 and the 60. He came over the radio. He said everything's pretty good, just a little bit of handling, which is the issue with pretty much everybody out here. But Scott Wimmer, last nationwide only driver to win a race. It was right here in Nashville in March. He's also the last non-Toyota to win. They hope to keep that streak alive and bring it home to victory lane again. Right behind him, David Stremme. He's been racy for the past, well, about 4 months now. He's looking for his first victory in this series. He made his debut in the Nationwide Series 5 years ago. But David Stremme, all so well so far. And right behind him, Carl Edwards, defending series champion. He slipped back a couple spots, kind of bouncing around there with the 64. But Carl said, this car's got the best balance it's had since practice. He said, when we come in, we'll make a couple adjustments. It's not a rocket ship yet, but we're going to get there. Shannon?
Well, Jamie, Mike Bliss running 10th right now. Solidly 9th in the point standings coming into this race. Mike Wallace said he's worked his entire career to be in the situation he's in right now. Good team, good cars. He told me earlier today that this team really hit on something at the Charlotte test. He said that they've really improved since then. Right now, Mike Wallace just a little loose off. Mike, Alan.
All right, Shannon, thanks. So there are updates on the top 10 as we run now 36 of 225 laps complete in tonight's 300-miler. It's all Joey Logano so far. Started on the pole. He's led all of the laps. Brad Keselowski, though, not all that far behind.
David Rudeman, one of 7 drivers doing double duty. His nickname is Beak, and the crew guys down in the garage area were saying, you know, if it were a horse race, he could probably win it by a nose. He started out back in 12th position, and now he's sniffing his way toward the front. And that 99 car is on the move. Rudeman had a shot winning back here in March, and now he's running in 6th spot, getting ready to try to make a move into the top 5. 43 of 225 laps in the books. Joey Logano has led the first 42 laps from the pole. This guy here, Andy, we talked about how good Jerry Baxter and the guys are going to have the car dialed in and how frustrating they were. You talked about the fuel mileage effort. They're about halfway through a fuel run, but they certainly have a really good race car. Yeah, they do. And, you know, they're tired of these other Toyota teams getting all the attention. They want to get out here and get one of these trophies and, you know, get in on the act. But, you know, they got a good run going here. They made a little bit of a charge up on these guys and then kind of just stalled out a little bit.
Tell you what, I'm watching the lap times right now. Hey, one of the fastest guys on the racetrack is Mike Bliss. This guy is really flying That last time by, almost 0.2 of a second faster than Logano. But the time's been going back and forth a little bit. Man, I tell you what, his car is coming around, though, and Brad Keselowski is not losing anything on Joey Logano.
Mike Bliss, there have been some close moments of Bliss is charging, and as you said in the commercial a moment ago, this guy is a wheelman.
He
Talking
really
about
is.
Mike Bliss, watch this move on Clint Boyer.
You see it, the old Boyer gets a little bit loose. Mike Bliss right there to take advantage of it.
Outside corner, clear, all clear.
Now, Rusty, how much of that right there was induced by Mike Bliss being right up on his bumper?
A lot of it. That was really smart. I mean, Bliss pulled right behind him, got him really loose, and got past him. Shannon, what's Bliss's car doing down there?
Well, Rusty, Mark Reno just informed his drivers that you are closing on the leaders. Mike Bliss has moved up to the top of the racetrack. He says it feels good up there. It's just a little tight in.
Rusty, one thing I've noticed is this racetrack has taken a lot of rubber. We see the groove right there, really darkening up. And you know what happens there when that racetrack starts to take rubber, the cars start to get tighter. And I believe Mike Bliss had been anticipating this all weekend long.
Andy, you're exactly right. That's we've been watching that, and that track is getting darker and darker. Take a look at that right there. And that's actually happening all through the center of 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. But it's blacker up off the corners. I've noticed that. And so the track is getting a second groove in it right now. Bliss is pretty comfortable up there, but it's definitely going to change the characteristics.
What about a possible issue for Greg Biffle, who started the day in 15th and just moved up 3 spots to 12? Mike.
Doc, he has moved up those 3 spots and sits just outside the top 10, but there may be a developing issue on the 16 car. He radioed in not too long ago saying that he thinks he may be running out of brake. A little bit earlier for that, but they are concerned in the 16 camp.
Well, there's one thing they can do, Mike. They can tell Biffle just to back off a little bit early, let that car float in the corner, and let those brakes cool down, and it can sometimes even make your lap times better.
We'll see if Greg Biffle will indeed back off as they are chasing Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. The youth movement continues at the front of the field, but Mike Bliss also starting to move in on those two. When we come back, pit stop should be happening. We're just about set for the first set of scheduled pit stops in Nashville when we come back in just a moment. ABC is your destination for the NBA Finals. The series continues tomorrow night as Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers take on Kevin Garnett and the Celtics in Game 2. The NBA Finals on ABC tomorrow. Coverage begins at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Pit stops are coming closer and closer. Remember, folks, what happened to Joey Logano? That was the Achilles heel at Dover last week. He said, that's the one thing I've got to learn a lot about is getting on and off pit road. Remember, he had a little bit of contact with Casey Kane trying to get out of the pits at Dover.
Well, what I saw at Dover wasn't all Joey Logano's fault. Casey Kane was actually backing up in his stall, and what I saw Joey do was actually, he did everything he could to avoid damage. And as far as the crew chief goes, he's right here just trying to make sure he's covering the details with this kid and making sure he's aware. I don't think that he's any doubt in the crew chief's mind that he'll do the right thing when it comes right down to it.
Joey Logano is the leader. Chasing him in second spot is Brad Keselowski. Now, we asked Brad Keselowski to talk about these standalone weekends. We call them split weekends when the NASCAR Nationwide Series is in one location and the Sprint Cup cars are somewhere else.
There is a huge disparity over the weeks between track time practice on the conjunction events with the Nationwide Series and the Cup Series. Those few weekends at Nashville, Kentucky, those are our weeks where we're ahead, where it's the exact opposite, where we have more track time than the Cup Series drivers. It's almost 3 weekends where it's fair, It's we finally get an advantage where the 20 other weekends we have a disadvantage. So those are our opportunities to strike. Those are our opportunities to be better prepared and to get our win.
And that makes perfect sense. And he used the word opportunity 3 or 4 times. Maybe that's why we're seeing some of these guys break through here at tracks like Nashville.
Tell you what this kid's thinking. That's a great way to put it, too, because, when you're at these tracks with the Cup and the Nationwide, like you said, and they're getting that double track time, makes a lot of sense, and it's showing right now. He's taking great use of that. He's running second. Bliss also running third right behind him. And good way to think about it. I'm impressed by that, Jerry.
Here comes Mike Bliss on pit road. He's one of the first guys of these leaders to pit.
At the line now. 10 away. You got it.
He's coming to you, Shannon.
Yeah, Mike Bliss running third right now, pulls that car in. They're going to try to free him up just a little bit. A pound of air out of that right front as those guys go to work. It's going to be 4 tires in Sunoco fuel for Mike Bliss in his #1 car. A solid run for this team today here, guys.
Yeah, Shannon, he's been talking about fuel mileage, and he's the first guy to come down pit road, so this is an indication that they still don't have as good a mileage as some of these other cats.
Well, it's a good check right now because they've run green flag basically this whole time to be able to get a really good fuel mileage reading right now. So later on, it should pay off for him. He's a little conservative right now.
Here's Clint Boyer coming down toward you, Mike Massaro.
And Clint is saying he's a little bit tight off. They're going to make a 4-tire change and make an adjustment on the track bar as soon as he hits his marks. Team eagerly awaiting to jump off the wall and go to work on the right side. Keep an eye on the tire changers, seeing if they're in sync as they come around that race car. If not, there's a problem. There's the track bar adjustment, a clean stop for the 2. Jamie?
And David Stremme came on the radio just a few moments ago and said, don't change anything. All is good. Guys, Stremme started 13th, having a solid run, being very racy out there, so no adjustments expected for the 64 car. Guys?
Okay, they're all getting ready to hit pit road anytime right now. They're starting. Here comes Carl Edwards, David Reagan. So they're all going to hit pit road right now. It's going to be pretty wide open on this pit road.
Carl Edwards in the 60 car headed down, and for his scheduled stop, Joey Logano, the leader, also in the pits. Let's go down to the Biffle pit. Mike.
And we talked about his brake issue, but another concern is how tight they are in the center. They're going to also make an air pressure adjustment, and they talked about a chassis adjustment. It doesn't look like they're going to make that at this particular time as they work on the left side. Jamie?
Carl Edwards, same thing. He said he's loose, center off. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, air pressure. He's down and away. And the 20, Joey Logano, 18-year-old phenom, pulled into his pit box. Remember, just his second race. He said the car is tight, center off. He had a 1.5-second lead. He's led every lap up until now, doing a phenomenal job in that 20. Guys?
Saw him make an adjustment there, tight center off. We'll get on that. Here's the 9 car coming on the pit road. Chase Miller in for his stop.
And going for the right sides right there. He's got an early pit box, too, so he had to get that thing woed down pretty quick when he hit pit road.
Kyle Busch in, Dave.
No grip with this car, tighter and tighter. The entry is nice, but center off is not good right when I want to put the throttle down. Track bar adjustment and air pressure for Kyle. Jamie.
Scott Wimmer in that 29. He started 7th, having a pretty solid day, being racy, but he's feeling a little under the weather. We'll see if that comes into play, because it is about 95 degrees right now, guys. Scott Wimmer, 29, is down and away.
A couple guys losing a little spot, or a little time right here. The 29 car had a problem with the left rear. Hey, Shannon, 7 cars in.
Yeah, Mike Wallace says the car is pretty good right now. They're just going to make a small air pressure adjustment and a small track bar adjustment just to make that car a little bit better for Mike Wallace. As you see them going to work 4 tires. Mike Wallace is away, guys.
Great pit stop by Mike's crew down there. Good job. 15.8 seconds. That's as good as we've seen here. And there would be the leader, Marcus Ambrose. Driving for Tad Geschechter. His Ford, and we mentioned in our countdown show that Marcus is going to be running some NASCAR Sprint Cup events later on in the year. He's already been testing some. Loves this racetrack. Qualified twice in the top 5 last year, but has never had a chance to finish well. He's being shown as the leader here at lap 65. Nine car, we told you that they had this looped around a little bit. Now here, watch the onboard as the 9 was trying to get on the pit road.
At the yellow line. He's coming. He's coming.
All these guys try to get on pit road as fast as they can, but he had the 9 car. He had a pit stall real early on, and he had to get that thing stopped quicker.
Marcus Ambrose to you, Shannon.
Yeah, Marcos Ambrose pulls his car into the pit stop. As I told you earlier, guys, he was just a little bit loose in and off the turn, so those guys are going to try to make a little bit of an adjustment to get that car better for Marcos Ambrose right now as those guys go to work on the left side tires. 4 tires and fuel for Marcos Ambrose. Clean off that grill. Marcos Ambrose is down and away.
Cycling through the first set of pit stops today here on a track that is cooling and tightening up quite a bit. Remember, qualifying was in mid-afternoon in 95+ degree temperatures. Track was over 122 degrees. There is Landon Castle, the 18-year-old, who had to go at the back of the pack because of an adjustment to a sway bar after qualifying or rubbing a tire. So he's come from the back all the way to the front here to lead on lap 66.
Well, the key thing with the 5 car, and there's 2 others, Jason Keller and Brian Clausen, they pitted it on that caution at lap 10, so they can go just a little farther than some of these other guys. So it's going to be just a few more laps before it actually cycles through.
Landon Castle honoring the 185th Theater Aviation Brigade in Mississippi from the National Guard on the hood of his car. There are the biggest movers. Castle up 37. Morgan Shepherd, Jason Keller, who was involved in that first caution flag when he spun, coming off the corner in the 11 car.
Well, I sure what Jerry Castle's just waiting for a caution, hoping that something happens, which is going to give him all this track position. And he'll start out in front of this pack right now. But he's doing a good job. The car looks pretty solid. You know, he slammed the wall in practice because of that sway bar, and he's recovering from it.
Battle for 5th position.
Here comes Keselowski. Yeah, they got shuffled a little bit when they made those green flag stops.
Yeah, those guys have pitted on lap 10, I guess it was, Andy. They got a pretty good advantage on them right now, but we're approaching lap 70, and I expect those guys to be coming on pit road anytime themselves right now.
If they get a caution right now, it'll be a big-time advantage for them. If they don't, they're actually losing time out on the racetrack.
Yeah, we better quit talking about that. We don't want to jinx anybody now, you know.
First round of pit stops are complete, and it is Landon Castle, who pitted early on, still at the top of the field. Castle, Keller, Clausen, Logano now in 4th, and Brad Keselowski back in 5th position. Now, during those pit stops, we had a microphone and a high-definition camera on the front tire carrier from Denton, Texas, John Booslow, for the 25 car for Bobby Hamilton Jr. Let's listen and watch.
We got a couple away. All right, here we go. Throw the hose. 5 off. Pick up the tire, get to the wall. Get the next tire. Clear the jack man. Get the grill.
Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee, the unofficial capital of country music. We call it Music City, USA. Oh my, how many young talents have come downtown and played in the lounges, just hoping someone would discover them and they can break through. That's what's happening here just about 20 miles from downtown as these young talents are trying to break through. As we have cycled through the pit stop, Landon Castle has now been on and off pit road. And guess who? Joey Logano back at the front of the field. We welcome you back to our coverage of the Federated Auto Parts 300 presented by Dollar General. Now, a moment ago, the 40 car of Brian Clausen came on the pit road, and it might have been just a little bit of inexperience on the driver's part. Andy?
Yeah, that's definitely a rookie mistake. You see how he's trying to get in his pit stop, slides the front wheels, he gets right up next to the wall. Everything's fine over on the right side right now, but when they come over here on this left side, they're going to have a problem here.
Wheel, go around the back. Go around the back, wheel.
What the crew chief was telling the jackman is go around the back because he had no room to come around the front.
Contact on the racetrack. The 59 car, Marcus Ambrose, has come into contact with the concrete and another car. Damage on the front of his Ford.
Let's get in here first time.
A couple cars up against the wall in 3 and 4. Marcus Ambrose, one of them.
That'll bring out caution for the second time today here on lap 78.
Well, he's hit that wall pretty good on the right side.
It was really tight.
Easy, buddy. Easy, buddy. They're telling you to back it down a little bit.
We told
37, everybody. There you go.
Show you what happened. 66, Stephen Wallace, Bernie Lamar, the 37, and Ambrose, the 59.
And what happened? This was a perfect storm. Stephen Wallace is trying to get around the lap car, Bernie Lamar, and he gets down underneath him, and Marcus gets right behind Stephen, gets real loose, and almost a big wreck, and it looks like Marcus got the worst end of this deal.
Yeah, boy, they're lucky they didn't crash hard right there.
And boy, that reminded me of last weekend with the Braun teammates. As Stephen comes flying up the track right there trying to hold on to a loose car.
Marcus Ambrose definitely got the worst of that deal.
We told you Marcus loved this racetrack and had qualified so well here in his early young career, but he had never been able to get a break here and finish well. There's another prime example of misfortune for Marcus.
Yeah, he got a break right there, but it was a bad break. Here come the leaders.
Caution, second time. Logano will lead him back down at 45 miles an hour. Let's go down to Shannon's Bay.
Mike Bliss is going to take gas, and they're going to go down on the track bar just slightly, guys. Mike.
Clint Boyer headed down to make his pit stop as well. Last time they made a track bar adjustment. They're going to go back to work on the track bar, make another minor adjustment there as they work on the right side of the car. Jamie.
And Joey Logano said he's a 4 loose now. They're going to put 4 sticker tires on. He took scuffs on that last pit stop. No other changes for the 20 car, who regained the lead right before. And they're having an extra long pit stop here for Joey Logano. He's down and away, guys.
Race off of pit road. Bliss and Rudeman up 4 spots. Wimmer up a spot. Big loser Joey Logano. You saw the adjustments going there. We will see how that works. And someone has lost a wheel. It comes off the 59 car.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville. Our coverage presented by the Craftsman Company. Less than a lap from going back green. Brad Keselowski's the leader by not pitting under the caution, but I don't think that's what crew chief Tony Eury Sr. had in mind.
I was telling you to come with them. I don't know why you didn't. Oh, didn't hear that. Need to pay attention when you're coming around there. When you see the whole damn field pitting, you got to come with them, babe. You can't stay out there. To be honest, I think it's for the best. I think if you can get me off strategy of them, I can beat them. You get me in front of them.
Well,
a little difference of opinion.
Yeah, but now we'll see how it works out, because Keselowski's going to have a little bit less fuel on board than some of these other guys, but almost 20 laps less.
Yeah, but he's laid his cards down. He's going to get up on that wheel, or old Pops is going to get him when he gets back in there.
Keselowski, Cale Gale, Kelly Byers, Mike Bliss, the top 4. Then it's Rudeman, Wimmer, Edwards, Biffle, Boyer, and Logano way back in 10th. We'll follow up on what happened there in a minute. First, let's go full throttle for the restart.
Hey, car's off. Be ready. 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 Green, green, green. Green, green. Oh, right here in front of you. All clear, all clear. Clear all around. Inside. All right, this is it, buddy. You wide. Clear low. You're clear all around. Clear hard. Outside, outside. Clear. Clear.
3 and 4 wide up the back straightaway here on the restart, and you heard the spotter saying 3 wide, 4 wide, stay high, stay low, and we almost had a chain reaction crash on the restart. Heavy gaggle of cars. The 99 car is trying to find his way and pick his way through that traffic. There is the 99 of Rudeman. He was almost one of the cars stacked up.
Oh, got one in the wall. This thing started out crazy on the restart and hadn't calmed down yet.
Travis Kittleson, the 56 in the wall, and then also Brad Coleman, the 27 car. And that will bring out yellow for the 3rd time.
Bring it down.
I have to think that this caused by that restart. Brad Coleman got a little bit of an early jump, and everybody stopped in front of him. He may have got a little damage from that and cut this tire down. Boy, did it get crazy.
That restart was crazy.
Here,
they were all over the place. 3 and 4 wide. I saw the 9 car of Chase Miller get dead sideways. Everybody stacked up, and that's like scrambled eggs out there. I'm telling you what, they were bouncing off the wall, and everybody was avoiding these crashes.
Man, he hit that wall hard, too.
Damage on the right side of the Baker Curb Ford. That's operates here in nearby Nashville, Tennessee. The 11 car, Jason Keller, is the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass Award winner under the 3rd caution flag today. And because of that first spin, he got a lap down. Now he gets back on the lead lap, and we'll put 18 cars now on the lead lap. Let's show you what happened. It was a mess, to put it mildly, on the restart. But let's show you what happened up in the turn there.
This is actually after the restart. See, right there is where he blew that tire.
Contact with a 9 car on the restart. There it was. You see the 9 car does a nice job of holding on. That's Chase Miller not spinning the car right in front of Wimmer.
Yeah, but Brad Coleman got some damage to that right front fender. That ended up cutting that right front tire, and that's what sent him in the wall.
It looks like Brad Coleman just tried to really anticipate the start, guys, and really get some speed, and the guys just didn't go. He cut down left to avoid them, got in the back of the 9 car Chase Miller, and boy, right there, that's what tore that tire up.
David Rudeman in the pits, Dave.
And guys, last time they pitted, which was the last time there was caution, they didn't take on tires. But remember that shuffle you saw coming off of turn 2 with Travis Kittleson involved and everything? They got caught up in that, lost any track position they had gained by not taking tires. So they said, let's just come on down, get 4 now.
Finally, 4 fresh good years for the 99. The 27 is going to need more than tires. He's going to need some hammers and some paint before he gets back on the track. We'll update you on him in a moment. Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. The 20 car Logano spins around and has contact with the outside concrete. The pole sitter, who had dominated the first 64 laps of this race, has had his troubles.
It's another one of those restarts where everybody just kind of got wadded up. Takes a lot of patience right there.
Get on the apron, bud. Get on the apron. Need a radiator for sure.
Caution for the 4th time tonight, lap 88.
Wasn't your fault, bud. You didn't do anything wrong.
Show you what happened a moment ago. Just watch the 20 car. There had been some frustration out there. He's right behind the 2 of Clint Boyer. And they get crowded. It's Busch, Biffle, and Logano together. Logano gets the worst end of the deal and spins around. Take your ride from on board the camera for Greg Biffle, taking a look at what happens.
And Jared, they just all start stacking up. And really, it started
behind him, still inside 38.
It started with a 9 car up front. He got really loose right there.
The black 20.
2 car checked up.
Now the 32's inside. Inside door slamming. Easy hustle. You made it. Nice job.
When you see a car getting sideways like the 9 car Chase Miller, 2 car checks up at Clint Boyer. It all starts happening there. Then all of a sudden, Biffle sees the little window there, and he goes for it. And it's like, oh, I'm out of room here.
4 wide, not going to work here at Nashville, and the 20 car gets the worst end of it, as they will have to come in and make repairs on the Toyota of Joey Logano. Well, the 18-year-old phenom was impressive from the get-go, but now they've got a lot of work to do, and he's got a long way to go. He's going to have a shot here tonight. Sun may be setting here in Nashville, Tennessee, but lots of motorsports to come your way yet. Coming up later tonight, Bombardier Learjet IndyCar 550 at Texas. That's coming up next. NASCAR Now tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. NHRA Race Day tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. And, of course, NHRA Nationals Finals tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern Time from Joliet, Illinois. Now, there's the 20 car behind them. Well, we need to document one of the reasons that he was back there in that traffic. Now, in the previous pit stop, 3 cars didn't stop, and most of the guys took 0 or 2 tires, Jamie, but this car took, what, all 4?
That's exactly right. They took 4 tires. They had scuffed on there before, so they wanted to get 4 sticker tires on this car. Also, I talked to the team, and they said they were slow on that right rear tire change. It looks there on the pit stop that they were pretty quick, but the team took the blame for it. They got that Sunoco fuel in there as well, but then Dave Rogers came over the radio after this incident happened and says, man, we apologize. I put you in that situation. He got shuffled back to 12th, and of course, Dave Rogers taking the blame for that. But Andy, as you say, it was a team effort.
Yeah, and I think Dave Rogers was just apologizing for the decision to take 4 tires. And that's easy to see after the fact. He didn't know that these guys were going to take no tires or 2 tires and put them that far back in the running order. But, you know, sometimes it doesn't always work out.
You just can't blame anybody on that one. I mean, they went through that turn just normally, and all of a sudden the 9 car, Chase Miller, he got sideways, guys. That's what caused everybody to react what was going on.
And how good does that make Brad Keselowski look for staying out now, even though he didn't listen to what Tony Eury Sr. said to him by staying on the racetrack? This guy was in front of all that as the leader, although he's a little behind on the fuel mileage, and but able to stay out and be in front of any kind of incident on the track. Let's check in with our in-race reporter, Mike Bliss, who currently is running in 4th position.
Hey, Mike Bliss, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Yes, I do.
Mike, you're looking really good out there, buddy. You're in 4th place right now. Has the track made a pretty big change since the start of the race?
Not really. Not yet, it hasn't. We're a little too loose right now on entry, but it stayed the same.
Mike, what about the second groove? We got a second groove at this track right now. Is it getting wider?
Yeah, I don't know about the second groove yet, but we're working good on the bottom.
All right, buddy. Have a great race. We'll talk to you later.
Mike Bliss being shown back in fourth spot. By the way, the 32 car of Kyle Busch being penalized because he was speeding too fast on the entrance to pit road. Coming down, it's 45 miles an hour, and he was a hint above that. And thus, NASCAR has radioed the team and told him that he was caught speeding.
Not going to hurt him too much. He made that pit stop when most of the leaders just stayed out. So he probably got his car fixed back up and ready to go.
93 laps in the books, and there's Trent Owens trying to plead his case with the NASCAR official, the crew chief for Kyle Busch. Here they come down. Brad Keselowski, Cale Gale for Kevin Harvick in second spot. Kelly Byers backing up that top 5 here in the spring. Mike Bliss and Carl Edwards, the top 5.
These guys been going at it on these restarts, hasn't they?
I just started to say, let's see if we can get these guys to settle down just a little bit. Let's get some laps under our belt because, man, they have been stacking up big time in these restarts.
Here we go into turn 3.
You know, Andy, one thing I've noticed, they sail off into turn 1 and turn 3, and they're so close to each other going at the corner. And we all know that makes you really aerodynamically loose. And those guys got to be really careful because that's caused some of these wrecks.
Look at Bliss here in the 1 car diving on the inside. Bliss, there's not a conservative bone in this guy's body. He told us early in the week when you were out there, he said, we have got something for these guys tonight. It's a matter of me getting it done.
You could hear by the tone of his voice when Rusty was talking to him, he was ready to go to work.
Yeah, he didn't really want to talk a whole lot. He was like, hey, the track's not right. I don't know about a second lane. Let's get after it. So I don't blame him. He's having a great night tonight. He's really focused.
So I'm going to let my steering wheel do my talking. Here's the 2 car, Clint Bowyer behind him. That's the same car that Bowyer led 75 laps here back in March, only to finish second. He said, I just didn't quite get there, but hopefully I can change that here on Saturday night.
Now, Mike Bliss didn't take tires either on that last caution flag stop, but he did take fuel, so he'll be able to go the full distance on his fuel. Now, the 88 car is going to have to stop a little bit sooner.
Bliss in fourth position. Bowyer is 5th. Strimmy back in 6th, and Wimmer. There's the 16 car of Greg Biffle, and there'd been a report early on, Mike Massaro, that there was a brake issue on this car.
Yeah, and Greg Biffle really hasn't said much about that since. It appears that has rectified itself somehow, but the big concern now was that last wreck. You saw the damage that Kyle Busch got and Joey Logano got, but also Greg Biffle got a little bit of fender damage himself, and they have also got a piece of the blame.
Was our fault? We were 3 wide. I was in the middle. I didn't do a damn thing. That's funny. It's my fault that we were 3 wide. I'm in the middle. They're driving like crazy people, like the green-white checker.
And Greg also had a little bit of a sense of humor about it. He said, look, guys, let's buy him a copy of the instant replay and send it to their house.
Little politicking from inside the car. And Rusty, as you watch the battle between Bowyer and Bliss, now Bowyer taking the spot away. From a driver's standpoint, how much of that do you want to hear in the car when they say, okay, you're being blamed?
That just makes me mad, personally, because I'm driving the car and I know I didn't intentionally do anything. And he knows he was stuck in the center. So, you know, I don't want to hear a lot of that because that just irritates me. And if that happens, it's just going to make me drive bad. You know, when you get behind, then you drive hard to try to catch back up. But when you're in the middle and you hear all this malarkey, I don't know. I don't like all that.
Greg Biffle just said, you know, I'm in the middle of 3 wide. And anyway, he's trying to hang on. Already had his issues tonight. Biffle still showing, though, in the lead lap back in 14th position.
Brad Keselowski is making the most of that decision not to pit. He's got that clean air, and he's out front by a good little bit over Cale Gale.
And for those of you that might have been taken back a little bit by the way Tony Eury Sr. spoke to Brad Keselowski on the radio a little bit ago, we replayed. I will inform you that that's the way Tony Eury Sr. spoke to Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. So why should Brad Keselowski get anything different?
That's Pops. That's why they've got him up on that box.
Well, he's a senior guy that a lot of people respect. And when he speaks, you listen, buddy, because I'm sure Keselowski went, oh, I think I've made him mad.
That's why he's driving so hard right now, trying to make up for it.
Yeah. We talked about the opportunities these drivers could have at Nashville Superspeedway. 6 times drivers have come here and walked away as a first-time winner. The top 3 drivers right now, Keselowski, Gale, and Byers, have never won in a NASCAR Nationwide Series. It just might happen tonight. Back at Nashville Superspeedway under caution, the 16 car has spun to bring out caution for the 5th time, and now he comes scooting down pit road to get tires and repairs.
Got had a lot of damage here. Get a little sheet metal damage.
Looks like the rear spoiler's up in good shape still. Got the sides of the quarter panels of both sides tore up pretty good.
Now this caution will be a break for those 3 cars that did not pit on the previous stop. Keselowski, Gale, and Byers, as they will all come down pit road. And take a look at our Castrol GTX triple pits. Let's go down to Shannon.
Well, Doc, Mike Bliss says that the car is just a little loose on entry at the start of the run, but then it starts to get better. They're going to put that air pressure right back in the right front. That's the air pressure that they took out on their first pit stop. Dave?
Keselowski said this is the best my car has been, but it gets too tight, too quick. 1 round down on the right rear jack bolt for fresh tires. Jamie.
Gale said he had a little vibration, but they said, oh, that's probably just your brakes. You're good, buddy. They're going to put 4 tires on. He said the car is pretty good. Gale running second, guys, before the pit stop.
Race off of pit road. David Reagan, good job by Mike Kelly and company, gaining 5 spots. Mike Wallace already had good pit stops tonight. Brad Keselowski back a couple. Kelly Byers, you see the race off of pit road and the adjustments there by virtue of changing 2 or 4 tires. Greg Biffle's car loops around. Here's what happened to Biffle to bring out caution for the 5th time tonight, coming out of turn 4. Headed down to the start-finish line, and he whoops back and forth, and around he goes. A little bit of contact with the wall. Back with the green in a moment. Back in Nashville, Tennessee, under caution. The top 5 cars, including Clint Boyer, did not pit. Let's listen in to see why the 2 stayed out.
Pretty sure the 88's coming, Clint. We need to stay out. We got 15 green laps, and we can make it on 1 more stop from here.
So Boyer, Strimmy, Rudeman, Kyle Busch, and Landon Castle, those 5 did not pit here on lap 107 as we go back to green, and you will understand why based on their fuel calculations. Lap 110, Boyer the leader.
Man, these restarts, I'll tell you what. Chase Miller dives it inside under Kenny Wallace right there. Whew.
Chase Miller being shown a lap down. That's the 9 car in 21st position. There are 19 cars on the lead lap. Final car on the lead lap, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car.
Andy, I believe we've got a restart here. It looks like everybody calmed down just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. You see a lot of these guys are kind of a role reversal. The 88 car took 4 tires that time. You see him stuck now back in traffic. And Clint Boyer just decided to stay out. Looks to me like it's a good decision. These guys are just, taking that track position and kind of gambling a little bit on the tire deal.
By the way, for you Greg Biffle fans, he is still on the lead lap. Did not lose a lap, even by virtue of spinning and having the contact and coming on and off pit road. So Biffle still in the hunt. You're watching the 88 car there. Mired in between the 37 of Bernie Lamar and the 30 of Stanton Barrett.
Yeah, Biffle's just lost some track position right now. That car's still in pretty good shape. He's got 4 new tires, like you said, Jerry, so he's definitely not out of it.
There's Biffle in the 16. And that's Wimmer behind him in the 29. Are now in front of him. Correction. I stand corrected as Wimmer takes a spot away.
Biffle's car is pretty loose.
Yeah, he's holding on to that thing right now, and it does have a lot of right rear damage that could make that car a little bit loose. It actually looks like the right rear spoiler, and he's knocked down just a little bit that quarter panel, which, man, when you get that spoiler out of there, it hurts.
Lap 113, and the guy that everyone was thinking about might have a shot to pull off the first win tonight. His second start, not going to happen. Jamie?
Well, it certainly looked like it, too. Started on the pole, led 64 laps, and now he's back here repairing the whole front end of this car. Joey, what happened there?
Not really sure. There's lap cars everywhere. We're all trying to get back to the front. New tires, cars were sideways, cars are loose. Got tapped from behind, and couldn't do much from there. But we had a good game stop, EA Sports Toyota, but I wish we could have brought home a win on that, but I want us to go right around now.
Everything is a learning experience for you in your second start, Joey. You went from looking like you were going to get the win to sitting back here. How do you explain the emotion?
Pretty frustrating, I promise you that, but I mean, we're just going to make the best of it now. We'll go out there and salvage as many points as we can get.
All right, guys, they've repaired the whole front end of this car, and their hope is to get back out there, like he said, and ride around for some points.
Jamie, here's the good part, though. He's disappointed today, but we're going to be able to see Joey Logano in that 20 car for the remainder of the year. We got to believe we're going to see a lot of highlights out of that young man before this year's out.
Well, I guarantee you, Doc, he's looked good tonight, and you know, that wasn't all his fault, but he'll learn to when and when not to push it. And that may have been one of those times early in the race to maybe chill out a little bit. And I'm sure that's the way he'll look at when he goes back. But this really wasn't his fault. That was a lot of guys that were actually being a little too aggressive.
Andy, all I can tell you is welcome to big-time NASCAR racing, because every veteran in the world has went through this. There's many times when you're sitting behind the wall, frustrated when you had a fast car and you're fixing it. You know, this isn't the last time it's just going to happen to him. He'll learn, and he didn't do anything wrong. That's one thing you got to remember. But he can't beat himself up too bad. They just got to fix his car, get back up in the saddle, and get back after it.
Speaking of climbing up in the saddle, how hectic does it get on pit road during these pit stops? We told you we got a microphone and a camera on John Booslow, who's the front tire carrier for Bobby Hamilton Jr. Let's listen, watch, and enjoy.
Here we go. Ready? Here we go. 4 tires. Grill's dirty. Get the tire. Clear jack bin. Get this tire on here. Clean the grill real good. Hey. Looks like everything's all right here, so get on. Woo. All right.
Hey, what, Shifty? A lot of people don't understand that debris at the top of a racetrack has got a lot of rubber components on it, and they're all over the chassis as well. And what happens when you got that guy with that nitrogen and he's blowing all that stuff around, what it is, rubber gets on the rotor right there, and that's the reason you see the thing flame up in that area. But there's no big significant value, because as soon as he gets rolling, fire's going to go out. Doc?
Tim, I got to believe you and Andy over the years, as some of the best tire changers in business, probably saw a lot of fires when you pulled off those tires on pit road.
Oh, you see it all the time, Doc. You know, like I said, those rotors were glowing red hot when the cars come off the racetrack, and you build up all that heat, and they got that rubber on it, and you pull it off.
Hey, Tim, one question I've got, with all that fire underneath the hood there, Tim, I mean, you think it damaged or anything? Because, I mean, that was a pretty big fire, a little bit more than I've been accustomed to seeing.
No, Rusty, I don't think there's any problem right there. Like I said, that rubber that falls on those things, it just flares up. But what's really interesting, and Andy, he can kind of back me up on this a little bit, the worst time I ever had was when a hot lug nut got down my shirt at Martinsville. I was more concerned with that lug nut than I was that fire on that rotor.
Is that why you were hopping around down on pit road?
Exactly.
I never knew Tim Brewer could dance until I saw that.
That was a good comeback. Yeah, I would say a hot lug nut in your shirt pocket is much worse than a rotor fire.
Got a little problem with Jason Leffler here smoking.
Jason Leffler, who got his first win here, got trouble with the left front tire.
38's got a flat.
Yeah, he's definitely got a problem here. He may have a little problem getting on. Yeah, he's going to get on pit road.
Leffler trying to get the car woe down. Couldn't get on the pit road. Now we'll have to come back around, and left front tire down. Just trying to get there without tearing that tire completely apart and taking the fender off with it.
And the problem is he's trying to get there as quickly as possible and not tear the fender up. But it looks like a big part of the tire is gone, so he might be okay. He's coming to you, Dave Burns.
Yeah, and Andy, they've had a very strange night. Oh, Jason's going to hit that commitment code on the wrong side of it and get off there. We'll see if they penalize him for that. He's coming down pit road now. They had a motor problem earlier, they thought. They thought they corrected that. Then they were just the lucky dog, got back on the lead lap. They said, we're back in this thing, and now to have this happen, this will put him laps down again.
They're going to get a penalty for knocking that commitment cone down, but he had that left front tire on the rim. He couldn't hardly make the turn there.
Yeah, that's a tough thing about NASCAR's decision, though. They're not going to say, well, he didn't mean to do it.
No.
And they never do that. They always err on the side of what they saw. And the timing coming down pit road, stuff like that. So he probably will get a penalty. If he doesn't get one, he might just get a break. That doesn't happen.
Fresh tires for Jason Leffler. He's down and away. Well, we're past the halfway point. The front top three cars are awfully tough. How about David Stremme? He was the fastest car in the final practice last night. Still looking for win number 1. David Rudiman came so close here back in March. Clint Boyer got his first ever win at this place.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series from Nashville, presented by the Coleman Company, the Craftsman Company, rather. My bad. As we work just past halfway in this race, Clint Boyer is your leader. Next week, the Nationwide Series moves on to Kentucky Speedway, about 250 miles north of here. Little 300-miler on that very fast mile-and-a-half track. Remember Stephen Light with the big first-time win a year ago. Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN 2. Our Holiday Inn Express race summary. The night started out with Joey Logano on the pole, led most of the opening 60 laps. In fact, all of the opening 60 laps before getting shuffled back on an exchange of pit stops. Other leaders, Mike Wallace, Marcus Ambrose, Landon Castle, then the Logano again. He got shuffled back on pit stops, taken out in a wreck. Brad Keselowski led for a while. He got shuffled back in pit strategy, and now it's Clint Boyer out in front. And we're sitting here trying to run some of these numbers on the whole Clint Boyer fuel situation. And we heard his crew chief say on the team radio a little while ago, Brad, that they can make it on one more stop. I'm trying to figure if that, unless I'm forgetting to carry a one, if that can happen.
I think that may be a little bit iffy, Alan, but I really don't think, I think we'll have another caution. I think it's just some of these young drivers get closer and closer to the front. I mean, I'm looking at 6th position. Landon Castle's having a great run. You're looking back, David Reagan, Cale Gale. I think they get anxious here in the next several laps. I think a caution opportunity is going to come up. So I don't think we're going to get into those fuel windows. That's just my humble opinion.
Watching David Stremme, David Ruderman race for second. Andy, you've been running some numbers up there, too. You think they can make it on one more stop?
Well, Alan, I think it's iffy, but we hear the crew chief for Clint Boyer say that they can make it. They got to go 73 laps per segment on per tank of fuel here. If they get some caution laps, which they have some in this segment, they may be able to make it, but it's going to be close, I think.
Andy, that would be 95.76 miles. At 72 or 72 laps, and remember, it's a tapered plate on these cars. They lost 80 horsepower this year, but they still only have a little over 18 gallons of fuel, so that's going to be close.
Yeah, they'll get about 5 miles per gallon. Here's David Reagan going inside Landon Castle. That's for 6th spot. But they'll get about 5 miles to the gallon, which will take them about 68 or 69 laps, and that's the best case scenario under green. Now, if they get some caution flag laps in there, they can extend that. But Dan Dieringdorf, he said that he thought that they could make it with one more stop. We'll see.
We'll see if the 2-car can hold on. We saw a great battle a moment ago while AB was updating you on what's happened thus far as leaders between the 64 of Stremme and the 99 of Ruderman. Great battle continues on the track, and now Stremme pulling away a bit, Jamie.
Well, I just talked to the team. You guys were talking about strategy. The last time the 64 pitted was on lap 79. Now, they just told me that their next pit stop, they plan on being around lap 150. That's about 15 laps from now. If you do the math, guys, they're just barely going to be able to make it to the end of the race on one more stop. This could be the great strategy to play off. David Stremme looking for his first win ever in a NASCAR-sanctioned event. And, guys, the team also told me they think they're better than the 2-car. Doc?
Jamie, if that happens, Dale Ferguson on the right there, the crew chief, and David Stremme going to pick up the phone, I believe, and call Richard Childress and say, thank you, because we got great fuel mileage on that Chevy engine.
It's not all about the engine package either for fuel mileage. I know the driver's style has a lot to do with that. When I was Harry Gant's crew chief, we got great fuel mileage. But then when I was Earnhardt's crew chief, we never could seem to make that fuel mileage. And I think it's a lot of driver style that figures in there.
You want me to tell you why? Dale Earnhardt wasn't smooth. He was hard on the throttle. He was gassing that baby all the time, you know, driving it really hard. And when you do it that way, you really lose fuel mileage.
Speaking of driving hard, how about Brad Keselowski now inside of Kyle Busch?
These guys have a bit of history. They had a little contact last week at Dover, had some contact at Darlington. And now the pass is made cleanly, at least for the 88 car. And see if he can pull away from Kyle Busch, Busch's damaged Toyota. Just a little friendly wave out the window as he went by. We talked about their history, and Kyle Busch looked to be one of the cars to beat at Darlington. Watch here as Kyle's trying the 32 and the 88 get in the corner, a little contact, and the 32 goes around and slams the wall. What about last week at Dover? It took place on pit road. Here's Kyle Busch coming down, and out comes the 88. Right front fender into the door right there. Some damage, but that wasn't what created the bad day for Kyle Busch. It was actually contact with his teammate a few laps later. Dave?
I was just listening to Kyle on the radio, and he just radioed, hey, the Hendrick engine department made some horsepower gains. That was as Brad Keselowski went by him, and that's where they get their motors from. As for Kyle's car itself, it's damaged on the right side this time, but it's pretty straight, and it's been running fairly decent for him. He's been very quiet on the radio up until just then, making his way back toward the front. Mike?
Well, Dave, when Clint Boyer left here back in March, finishing second, he was extremely disappointed for two reasons. One, it was the fourth consecutive race here in Nashville. He was the runner-up and did not come away with the trophy. But more so because he felt like he could have won that race had he not been forced to drive a little bit more conservatively. The reason for that, he was low on fuel, had to save fuel. So they came back here with the motor tuned just a little bit differently. We heard Dan Daringhoff come over the radio about 5 laps ago and say 20 more. So they're looking to get to lap 155, still trying to do this on just one more stop.
It's going to be tough. I mean, these guys are going to have to get great fuel mileage, and these drivers are going to have to save them a little bit of fuel, I think. They sound like they're pretty confident.
How honest are you with the driver? When you're in his position, you know it's going to be real iffy. Do you let the driver know where you are? I mean, or do you worry him like that, or do you want him to know everything that's going on?
He has to know. He has to know the situation you're in, because if you need to save a little fuel, the driver can actually do that. You know, a lot of laps you can't save fuel, but there's plenty of times between now and the end of the race that driver will be able to save a lap or two.
Well, he can save a lap or two, and the crew chief needs to be telling him that right now. But if there's no way he's going to make it, he's telling the driver, hey, you're fine, that's a different story. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to slow the driver down. You don't want to get them all upset and in trouble.
And you also don't want to run this guy out of gas because he is the points leader. He came in here with a 121-point lead following up on that 9th place finish at Dover last week. And if you run him out of gas, he loses a lap or two, that could be ouch in the point standings for Clint Boyer. Laps are ticking down here at Nashville Superspeedway. NASCAR Nationwide Series action coming up next. Bombardier Learjet IndyCar action from Texas. NASCAR Now tomorrow. NHRA Race Day tomorrow at 11 a.m. And, of course, NHRA Nationals Finals from Joliet, Illinois tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Back with more from Nashville in just a moment. Back at Nashville Superspeedway, we are under caution yet again. This one for the 6th time around, and a tough break for another young driver, Cale Gale, in the 33 car. And Cale, watch what happens in the corner. The car just looks like it just goes up the track. Yeah, it just got sideways, and then when he went to correct it, he overcorrected just a little bit and got in the wall pretty hard. Brad Daugherty called it. He said there was going to be another caution.
I don't think he knew it was going to be Cale Gale, though.
He didn't know which one, but he knew it was going to be one of them.
Cale's been doing such a great job all night long, and he qualified that car good, running good, and just stepped out on him. He just flat got loose, and that's all there was to it. The bad break for Cale Gale becomes a huge break for Clint Boyer, David Strimmy, and David Rudiman. These guys who are going to be able to work their fuel strategy. And you see Cale getting out of the car. Let's go down to Jamie Little. Jamie Little in the 33 pit.
I'll just update that real quick. Remember last pit stop on Cale Gale, he said he had a vibration. Well, Raleigh Rogers said, just stay out there, ride it out. It's probably just your brake rotors. Well, Cale kept saying something bad is about to happen, guys. It's not feeling right. Rogers said, just stay out. Well, it happened. He went into the wall, said something broke, and he said, I've been trying to tell you, Wally, something was wrong. And he said, buddy, we just tried to ride it out. Tough break. They had such a good run here. Last time they ran, it was 8th. And, you know, Kevin Harvick, his owner, and Delana Harvick watching, very disappointed right now.
Yeah, you can see Cale going over there and looking at the right side of the car. He's probably looking to make sure the wheels were tight or try to see what the problem was. He knew he had something going wrong.
Cale Gale will be back in this car the next 3 events. Next week at Kentucky and Milwaukee, making his 6th start of the year. His best finish came here at Nashville back in March. His top 10 was an 8th. Hoping to improve on that tonight.
Well, he works at the shop every single day, so the bad part is for him. He'll be in the shop with the guys, tearing that baby apart, looking at it, going, I can't believe this happened, but
Pit road's going to be closed right here because this car's still sitting here. They're going to have to clear that before they can open it up.
Well, Andy, when they open it up, there's 79 laps to go. And some of these guys were talking about trying to make it 72 or 73 anyway.
No, they can't make 79. At least not 79 green flag laps. It's like a 78 to go this time. By the time they actually get on their pit road, it could be down to 75 to go, and that's still pushing it.
Under caution here for the 6th time tonight, and when the night began, everyone was talking about the opportunity for possibly an 18-year-old driver making only his 2nd career start. Joey Logano on the pole, and he led early, dominated early, but on lap 89, 4 wide, Logano in traffic gets a bit of a tap and goes around in the nose, right into the wall there. Had to come in and have a complete nose job done on his Toyota. 8:46 Eastern time was the time the car came behind the wall. Look at the whole front of that car. They had to take the radiator. And wholesale changes here, Andy.
Yeah, they have to get all the bent stuff off of there, the bad radiator. They changed the radiator, put a brand new front end on this car. They had it all prefab, so you can see this whole front end, even the hood, all that stuff went right back together. Just beautiful. The car looks like it hasn't even been wrecked.
It's amazing how it all fits together. All the hood pins line up, and after a big wreck, usually these teams got a hammer out. They're trying to align the hood pins so the hood are closed. They had this thing fixed up, ready to go.
Yeah, great job for Dave Rogers and company. Let's go down to our Castrol GTX triple pits. Let's head down to Shannon.
Well, Doc, that last pit stop for Mike Bliss was a 20-second pit stop. Lost a lot of track positions. These guys are going to go to work on this car. Mike Bliss saying that the car is tightening up. They're going to try to fix that with air pressure, and they're going to go half around on that track bar. Dave Burns.
David Rudiman said, give me some more front grip. They'll reduce the air pressure in both front tires to try to help that situation. They'll be about 8 laps short of their fuel window to the end. Mike?
Boyer's biggest concern, he wants to be snugged up a little bit. He does not want to leave and start the run loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, putting a ½ pound in the left rear, hoping to tighten the 2-car up.
David Sturmey just making a little air pressure adjustment on that right front. 4 tires, fuel. They're going to be about 10 laps short. They said grab a tear off if you can. He's down and away. It's a quick pit stop for the 64.
Race off of pit road. Biffle up 11 positions, and as you heard, the overriding theme, most drivers will be 8 to 9 laps shy on fuel to the checkered flag, which means more strategy could come into play, or at least some yellow flags. 99 car. David Rudiman getting his service on pit road, and yeah, excitement in the crew. Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway NASCAR Nationwide Series action presented by the Craftsman Company. Under caution here for the 6th time tonight. There have been 25 laps under caution, 7 lead changes among 7 different leaders. Pole sitter Joey Logano had led the most laps, had led twice for 64 laps. Clint Boyer has led for 45 laps, and he is the leader of note right now. As we get set to go back to the green flag, 75 laps to go, and some fuel strategy being played by a couple of cars here a moment ago coming back down pit road to top it off.
Yeah, we saw Scott Wimmer come back down pit road, and they put a little more fuel in it. With 75 laps to go, that's going to be close for him.
Well, that's asking for a lot right there.
How about the 16 car, Greg Biffle in 2nd position. Remember back on lap 104, he spun and stayed on the lead lap, came down for tires, and on this stop, he only took 2 tires, able to make up some spots on pit road.
I guess if you're going to come down for Pocono, you might as well make the most of it, huh?
It's the only shot he's got right now to get this thing back up front. He was so far in the back from that spin. It's good look for us to see how 2 tires are going to actually run. We haven't seen that all night long.
32, Kyle Busch, David Reagan behind him. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Keselowski is there, the 88 car. Right in front of them, Rudiman, the 99 car, in 4th position. There is Brad Keselowski trying to pick his way through this congestion. The 6 car in front of him, but he's behind Bernie Lamar right now, the 37 car, one of the lap cars. More on 88. Dave?
Wow, that's close in there, huh, Doc? The 88 car came down pit road. They took on 4 fresh tires as they're still 3 wide. Heading into the turn, they'll get smart now. They took on 4 tires, but he said, don't tighten me up much. I'm very, very loose, but I need it to be that way. I don't want this car to go tight. So they made a slight air pressure adjustment and sent him on his way.
Flat left front.
Yeah, that 38 car's got another flat left front, guys. All that sparks flew off underneath that thing, and he finally did get it down pit road. That could have been a heck of a crash in the middle of 1 and 2 on that one.
They've got something rubbing on the inside of that tire because the fender looks fine. Doesn't look like it's rubbing anything on the outside.
2 tires. 2 tires.
38 was a lucky number at the Belmont today. The winner, a 38-1 long shot, but a lucky number tonight here in Nashville for Jason Leffler. Two-car, Clint Boyer pulling away now with 71 laps to go. Let's find out what kind of fuel strategy we may be thinking about. Mike.
And Doc, before that caution flag came out, the original plan was to stop at around lap 155 with intentions of going the distance without making another stop. Stopping this early, can you still go the distance without stopping again?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. We ran enough that we had to stop. It was a few laps too soon. We get enough. If we get a couple cautions here, we should be all right. But we'll see how it goes.
There's one of the cautions, Doc.
Spinning on two over there.
That's what just as he said, if we get a couple of cautions, we get one here on lap 155. Josh Wise, a 22 car. One of the two cars involved. The other one was Travis Kettleson in the 56.
Josh Wise was running up there with those leaders. Wasn't on the lead lap, but he was running right with them.
Tell you what, the 29 car, Scott Wimmer, who come down and put that fuel in, this is really going to help him extend this if he's going to make it with 75 laps.
Yeah, you see right here, he's in the middle of all these leaders.
And the leaders are just getting impatient. You know, they just don't want to mess around and get way in the back of the pack. And looks like Mike just got in the back of him just a little too much right there.
At this stage of the race, these guys on the lead lap are not going to have a lot of patience with these guys that are not on the lead lap.
Now,
Keep coming, spin behind us.
This is definitely the point of the race where tempers are starting to flare and these guys are getting anxious.
Bliss in 8th spot, Mike Wallace in 9th, and Josh Wise, this car was right in between them. So the caution comes out for 7th time here on lap 156. You hear us talk about Concrete Carl Edwards. How about Concrete Clint? Pretty darn good. 16 top 10 finishes, 3 wins, and 20 races on concrete racetracks. Could it be win number 4 coming up here tonight? The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville, presented by Craftsman, is being brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by Tractor Supply Company, the stuff you need out here. Well, what about the fuel strategy? Can you make it? Can you not? We got some caution flags and some laps, I should say, and now the drivers are wanting to ask. Let's listen in to David Rudemann's radio.
Yeah, but I understand correctly, we cannot make it.
No, Dave, I can't see any way we can make it. 29 came back down, but I just can't see any way we can make it.
I hate it when you tell me that.
Yeah, I know it. You still love me, don't you?
Absolutely.
Now, they have revised that somewhat, guys, not the love part, but actually the making it to the end of the race. Crew Chief Jerry Baxter said we can get to lap 225, just to 225, if you save me everything you can. So we're working on it, but it's going to be close.
Dave, back in the spring, it was sort of deja vu. They were running 3rd and had to pit for fuel with 6 laps to go. Wow.
That's why these guys make the big bucks sitting up on that box.
Early in the race, they all come down pit road at lap 62. What makes them think they can run 75 laps now?
Well, we're getting ready to find out.
I guess they're just conservative early coming down pit road, huh? Early in the race to see what the fuel mileage is.
Guys, we showed you Clint Boyer's record on concrete. How about Concrete Carl Edwards? It's been a year since Carl Edwards won a race. Hard to believe that in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. His last win came right here 1 year ago, and he has been shut out. 3 wins in the Cup car this year, but has been shut out thus far in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Jamie.
And he's the winningest driver here, too, with 3 wins. You'd think that they have the strategy figured out. So Carl radioed into his crew chief, Pierre Cattell, and said, okay, how close are we? And they're having Jack Roush do the calculations. And Pierre said, well, according to Jack, we're about 4 laps short. And are you going to go with that? And Carl said, yeah, I like what Jack says. So they're going with it. And actually, the latest update is they're going to be 1 lap short during this caution. So the 60-car guys could hold out for strategy and see if they can get another win.
Wow, Jamie, the 60 might be a half a lap to a lap. We're in the 99, may just make it on fumes. This could be interesting here. And that's why all you crew chiefs makes the big bucks here, Andy, huh?
Well, that's if we don't get any more cautions, but I don't see that happening. I think we're going to get a few more of them.
I think we'll get a couple more at least. I really do.
Already had 7 yellow hankies for 29 laps, and we got 66 laps to go. Let's see what Clint Boyer's going to do, bringing them down here on the restart. Clint Boyer, the leader. David Stremme in second spot. A fuel-saving David Rudiman back there in third. Biffle is fourth. Kyle Busch fifth. Reagan, and then Keselowski, Bliss, Wallace, and Edwards the top 10.
Whoa! See the 37 car, Bernie Lamar, spinning down the front straightaway.
Save that fuel, spinning down the front stretch. No contact.
Keep coming, you're all right.
And caution for the 8th time tonight. That was a real thick limb you were standing on there, Andy. You said there was going to be more caution flags.
Hey, with these restarts, I mean, they're tough on these cats. Looks like he's got a little damage on the right rear quarter panel right there. Have to knock that roof flap down, but let's take a look at what happened here. Bernie just got loose. Just a classic case of getting loose up off the corners. Spun that baby around and didn't tear the front of the car up, which is good. You tear that front end up, you're in big trouble.
Nice job by Stephen Wallace and Mike Bliss to get around him. They watch Wallace 66. There's Bliss. He comes right across in front of Bliss, and neither one of them hit him.
Great driving right there. Mike Bliss especially.
Let's ride along with Mike Bliss on his onboard. Watch the spinning car and watch Bliss somehow dodging coming out of the corner. Oh, he just gets by. Caution number 8 on the night.
Lots more racing coming your way this weekend on ESPN2. Right after we're done with NASCAR tonight, the IndyCar 550, the Bombardier Learjet IndyCar 550 from Texas. That'll be wild. NASCAR Now gets you ready for Pocono tomorrow morning at 10 Eastern. Then the NHRA race day tomorrow at 11 a.m. And the finals from Route 66, Joliet, Illinois, 5 Eastern time. That's all coming up on ESPN2. We are less than a lap from the restart here. You and I were just talking during the break here, Brad. This race has been about getting your car out front by strategy.
Absolutely, Alan. And I think what we're going to see here over the next few restarts, if we continue to have them, not only going to see fuel mileage saved, but whoever's up front needs to get a great restart, because Boyer, when he's been up front, he has checked out. Logano earlier, when he was up front, he checked out. That clean air on the front of that race car is so pertinent to it being way out front and getting a good lead. So I think Clint's going to try to get a good jump here.
And we're looking at that 88 car, Brad Keselowski. Same thing. He was out front for a while, checked out, led a bunch. 27 laps, as a matter of fact, then got shuffled back by strategy. And he hasn't gotten any farther forward than 7th right now. This restart's going to come with 60 laps to go. Clint Boyer, David Stremme, David Rudiman, your top 3. Here we go.
Clint Boyer coming down to lead the 61st lap that he has led tonight. There are the subjects. We are being told the 64 car of Stremme is about 3.5 laps shy on fuel. The 99, you heard Gary Baxter say, we probably can get to the white flag, but the checker flag lap may be on fumes. Very close for both those cars. Here they are, 3 wide back in the pack. The 60 car and the 7, Edwards and Mike Wallace. That's 4 position. That's for 9th spot.
Well, these guys are aggressive on these restarts.
Well, they got to go for it, because that's where the most grip is early in the run. If the tires are stuck and the cars are handling early, they can knock about 3 or 4 of them out of the way and do a little passing right there. That's what you're going to try to rely on. Shannon.
Yeah, Mike Wallace, I asked the team if they could make it on fuel. Crew Chief Bruce Cook said maybe. They've been telling Mike Wallace to conserve ever since that last pit stop, guys, so they may just gamble.
Tell you what, everybody's going to have to conserve a little bit, try to get all the fuel they possibly can, except for a couple. But, Andy, I just got to believe we're going to have more caution laps yet. I mean, we're already having them early, and we got a long ways to go yet.
Yeah, these guys still racing really hard all the way through the pack.
Remember, Scott Wimmer came back on pit road to top off that tank at the very end of the previous caution flag, and got to wonder how comfortable he might be. He wanted here back in the spring in the 29 car. Wimmer is 10th. That's a 29. Right in front of him, the 7 of Wallace is 9th. Bliss 8th. 99 car. So much for saving fuel by the driver, David Rudiman. He goes around the 64 to take 2nd spot away.
Well, now's not the time you want to save fuel. You want to get all these spots, like you said, Rusty, right after these restarts, when the getting's good, you need to get by these guys, and then you can get out there, maybe stretch it out and save a little fuel.
I totally agree with you. I mean, every time I was driving Andy on these restarts, it was hammer down, get all you can do. Don't just sit behind these cats. You can't pass anybody. You got to go for it when the tires are cool and they got the most grip. And that's the reason we've been seeing all this aggressive restarts.
Fifth position, David Reagan goes by his fellow Roush Fenway teammate Greg Biffle, brings the 88 right along with him. Keselowski's, that's 5th, 6th, and 7th.
That was a little bit of a Mark Martin move by Greg Biffle.
More on 88 from Dave.
Just checked in their pit earlier. Pops Uri had asked Brad Keselowski, can you save me 5 laps? And Brad said, I'm shutting the motor off under caution, but I don't think I can get you 5. I just went and talked to Pops a moment ago. He pointed to a number on his computer screen, 224. That's 1 lap short. So Brad's going to have to find another half a lap or 3/4 of a lap or something to coast to the finish if this thing goes green.
Oh, boy, they're all getting close. It's going to be very, very close, and some nail biting here as the laps click away. Gotta believe it may have a little more yellow coming our way before this one is over.
Yeah, that's a big if to think this thing might go green all the way. But I mean, it wouldn't be that much out of the question for this thing to get strung out maybe and do that. But here comes Rudeman. He's running down Clint Boyer in his 2-car.
Tell you what, he's about, last time by Clint Boyer ran a 30.75, and that time by David Rudeman ran a 30.63, so he's definitely catching him.
Clint Boyer out front in the 2-car has now led 67 laps, and we asked Clint about coming to Nashville Superspeedway and about how much he likes this racetrack.
Nashville's always been special to me. It's where I got my start. It's where the first big track I ever raced on was at Nashville. It's where Richard found me, saw me racing in Nashville in an ARCA race, and got my job at RCR. So I owe a lot to Nashville, and it's been good to me as well.
It was actually an ARCA race a few years back when when the 2-car, when Clint Boyer was driving for an underfunded team, and he started 7th, led 47 laps, and finished 2nd. It was on television that night. Richard Childress saw how impressive this young man was with a team that didn't have a lot of money. He said, I need to give him a call and give him a shot. 32-car, Kyle Busch off the pace.
I don't know what the problem is here. He was running right up front.
2 tires.
Must be a tire problem here.
Make sure that fender's clear. Make sure that fender's clear.
What's going on?
Hey, Doc, he had said just a few laps ago to his spotter, Jeff Dickerson, I smell rubber, but I don't see any smoke. You see that damage on the right side? That's from earlier, and they've been monitoring whether or not that's getting into the tire. He does have a flat right front down, he believes, so they're going to come down pit road and have to have to change it. Tough day for these guys after getting back onto the lead lap, racing toward the front, and now this.
Yeah, Dave, I never did see any smoke coming from this car, but he does have a lot of damage. I'm sure it rubbed the hole right in that tire. Here's the lead.
Back up front, David Rudeman. As you said, Rusty, you might as well go for it while you can, and Rudeman has got his Toyota in the breeze on the inside, slides and takes a spot away from Clint Boyer.
But the guys, things I'm starting to wonder right now is if Boyer's actually saving fuel just a little bit. I've been watching his lap times, and they've been pretty erratic, and it looks like David Stremmy's doing the same thing. He's backing off a little bit, too, just to save a little bit of gas.
You telling me if you're sitting out there leading a race that you'd back off and let the guy take the lead to save fuel?
I wouldn't, Andy, but I'm noticing, I'm looking at the lap times and something erratic's going on there. Because I would bank that there's going to be another caution flag.
Exactly.
That's where I would save my
that
fuel.
track position up.
David Rudeman, winner last year in Memphis. Obviously likes racing in Tennessee. Has run so well here in the past, but has yet to go to victory lane in the Nationwide car here. And these are the first laps he has led this year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Well, that's hard to believe because, you know, every time I see Rudeman in his 99 car, Jerry, that car always is running great. It's always up in the front. And you would have thought he could have dominated a lot more because, like I said, he's always up there.
The problem is all these other Toyotas have been up front so much. He's just been right there behind them, not been able to take the the advantage of getting up front and leading lap.
He finished 2nd in the points a year ago to Carl Edwards and wanted to run for the championship this year, now being shown in 4th in the points coming into the night.
There's one thing I've noticed also. This race started, it was awful hot out there, 91 degrees, hot track temperatures. Now it's pitch black. The rubber is all over the track right now. The track's getting much blacker, and the whole complexity of this race has seemed like it's changed. Keselowski's car's pretty good, but not as dominant as it was early.
It seems to be more about track position, though. When Keselowski was up front, he had no problem leading the race. But he's just had a little bit of, when he made that 4-tire change, he's really just never recovered and gotten back up to where he can get that clean air on the nose.
Speaking of clean air, look how Rudeman now is just pulled away from the 2 car of Bowyer up front. I mean, no one to worry about with air in front of him, just now pulling away by about 12 to 15 car lengths.
See Kyle Busch now coming back on the racetrack with those new tires.
Okay, I didn't see any smoke on that right front fender like you said on that 32 car. He must just run over some debris, or might have been barely touching it where it wasn't smoking. Just enough to cut that thing down.
NASCAR is all about family. When we ask these drivers about some of the guys you worship growing up as a driver and who's your hero, well, David Rudeman, it doesn't have to look very far to find someone he wanted to emulate in the driver's seat.
My race car driver idol is Buzzy Rudeman. Probably as cool a racing name as there ever was. Not only because he's my dad, but I've seen him outrun guys with 3 times the budget and 3 times the car just from sheer driving ability. My father and I have been in victory lane together. We've been wrecked together. We've been broke together. He's very important to me, and he's done a lot for me. He's my hero.
And they still race together from time to time on the dirt tracks. This week, David, of course, participating in the Prelude to the Dream at the Eldora Speedway. Didn't have a fantastic night there, but here, doing very, very well. What's the fuel situation down in the end? Crew Chief Jerry Baxter just radioed him and reminded him, take care of the fuel for me, if you would, please. By the way, Jerry was also at Eldora this week. He said, it was awesome. No tape measures, no radios. I just sat there and watched the boy race. We had a blast.
Jerry, I tell you something pretty exciting. This Thursday night, Kenny and Tony Stewart, into the wall. Bobby Hamilton Jr. looks like he's got a right front tire down.
Bobby Hamilton Jr., and that will bring out caution again.
We just started to say that Buzzy Rudeman and David are going to be racing together Thursday night up in Macon, Illinois at Tony Stewart and Kenny's racetrack, and this happens.
Remember, we showed you the brake fire on the right front there earlier when they made those tire changes, and now the 25 car up in the wall.
Yeah, I don't think it's related, but, just a bad deal here with the right front going down.
Onboard camera, let's see if we can see what happened.
Oh, that
he had a little damage already on that right front. Could have been right here. Gets together with Landon Castle. That causes a little damage on that right front and ends up cutting it down.
Yeah, you can see Landon Castle's left rear, so got a lot of marks on it, so he definitely made contact, and just enough it might have knocked the valve stem out or cut it or whatever, but that thing was down in the middle of the straightaway. I don't think Bobby could even tell it was down because he was still wide open in the throttle.
Tough
had a
break
good run going, too.
He sure did, and he really wanted to win badly here because of the fact that his home is not far from the racetrack. Wanted to win to honor the memory of his dad, who won here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and has finished 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, but never won here in the NASCAR Nationwide car.
Get a good look at it right here from this crew cam. You see all the damage right here, and these guys are gonna have a little trouble getting this tire off and assessing the damage. See, all these guys have to lift up on the car just to get the jack under.
A lot of sharp edges up there. Things hot. Crew guys got to be careful under these circumstances. They don't hurt themselves.
Mike Bliss is in. Shannon.
Well, Mike Bliss asked his crew chief, Mark Reno, should we come down? Mark Reno said we cannot make it, so they decided to come down 2 tires only. Dave?
The 88 car, Brad Keselowski on pit road as well, gave up 5th position. Their reasoning, we can kill them if we have fresh tires. According to Keselowski, they needed fuel.
Mike, Greg Biffle in for 4 tires and fuel and a round out of the left rear. A clean stop on the 16 is away.
I think that's a good move by all these guys because they did not have the track position anyway. Why not go ahead and get enough fuel, get tires on the car, and then go on offense?
Oh, no, I totally agree with it. Get, the car handle better that way. They don't have to worry about saving fuel. They can just hammer down and go for it and be real aggressive. But, hey, when this happens, this is when cautions fly.
That's right. Yeah, because you got real fast cars back in the pack.
Oh, man, they get all jacked up and wound up, and that's when we have the problems.
Jerry Baxter, you can see him contemplating what's going to happen. The 2-car pits, Dan Deeringhoff, crew chief for Clint Boyer. And with more on that team, let's check in with Mike.
And the ongoing saga continues for the 2 team, and it all revolves around fuel, Doc. They're still talking about it just before this round of pit stops and pit road opened up. Crew chief Dan Deeringhoff came over the radio and gave some instructions to Clint Boyer.
Save some fuel.
Can we make it from here? I mean, that's Toyota. You don't make good fuel mileage, we do.
Yeah, we're close. We just need to keep doing it. They said a few laps ago they couldn't, but they might be playing a game too. Just save you some here, and we'll go get them after a bit.
And remember, Doc, back in March, this team finished second, largely because, and Clint said this, because he had to drive conservatively, saving fuel. He's hoping not to have to do the same thing here tonight. Jamie?
And Dale Ferguson, the crew chief for David Stremme, I heard him come on the radio and said, darn, he wanted to pit. Now what do you do, Dale?
Well, I mean, we're sitting here just a little bit short on fuel. We're racing the guys in front of us, not the guys behind us. I mean, we're right at that break-off where guys come in and took 4 tires, so hopefully we get some cautions here. Hopefully they race each other behind us. That's all we can hope for at this point. It's going to be tight both ways, so hanging on to top 5 is going to be tough at this point, I think.
Definitely a gamble, about 3 laps short, they're thinking. Dave?
And now with Jerry Baxter, crew chief for David Rudiman, Jamie. Okay, you've got what everyone else wants, track position. Some of them took fuel, though. Do you need that?
Yeah, we're close. We're real close on fuel. That's a tough call right there, you know, whether to stay out or whether to come down. I think about 8th place back went ahead and came down, so I'm pretty confident having track position, and we'll just hope we can keep this Aaron's car out front.
All right, good luck. Doc?
Let's set the stage here for what happened. The top 7 cars stayed on the racetrack. Rudiman, Boyer, Stremme, David Reagan, Scott Wimmer, Mike Wallace, and Chase Miller. Now, the 8th place car is the 1 car of Mike Bliss. He is the first car off of pit road that pitted. There is Bliss in 8th position. Behind him, Keselowski, Biffle, Edwards, Byers. All these cars came on pit road for tires and fuel.
Mike Bliss got right side tires. Brad Keselowski got 4. So a lot of these guys are going to be, they're going to be digging right here on this restart.
Well, there's one thing for sure. There's always a defining moment in the race, and this was the defining moment right now. Whether he should have put 4 or stayed out, and a lot of these guys are nervous. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Nothing's just not going to happen. They're going to run out of gas, or the guys that pitted are going to drive right to the front.
Now, the 9 car's having a pretty good run. Shannon?
He absolutely is, Doc. This is only his 5th start this season. He had a spin on pit road, went a lap down. They took fuel only on lap 156, and Chase Miller is good to the end. So it could be another strong run for Chase Miller in that number 9 car here today.
Showing in 7th position, 39 to go. It'll be 38. Crowd on their feet. Music Fest downtown here in Nashville, Tennessee, but it's Motorsports Fest here at Nashville Superspeedway. Will they have enough fuel to make it? Can Rudiman hang on? Is Clint Boyer, can he save enough gas? How about the 64 car of Stremme, who has never won a NASCAR Nationwide Series race? We're told he may be 2 or 3 laps shot.
How about Kyle Busch right here? He's not giving up. He's 2 laps down. He's still racing really hard. If he can get this lap back, he can get in position, maybe get that lucky dog and get another one.
Well, you're absolutely right, because I really feel like the caution's going to come again, and he doesn't ever give up. So you're exactly right. He can get 2 laps back.
Make these guys run some of that fuel out, too.
You surprised that Kyle Busch wouldn't give up?
No. Look here. Boyer's all over him.
And Busch trying to hang on the inside. Boyer on the inside of him.
All Boyer's seeing right there is another lap car in his way.
These guys will have no choice right now. They got to hammer down. They can't save any fuel. They just got to rely that the caution is going to come back out again. Because look at the gaggle of cars behind them, guys. If they get back in that, they can get themselves in a wreck.
Well, Kyle Busch gave it a shot here, but he let those guys, he kind of gave way and let the leaders get by. He gave it a good shot for a couple of laps.
He's had a good car tonight. He just hasn't had a great car like we're used to seeing Kyle Busch have.
"36 laps to go." Remember, the points leader is Boyer, who came in here with a 121-point lead. It's 156 now to Rudiman, who moves in the 2nd spot. Edwards 3rd. David Rudiman will be the big gainer here if he can hold on and pick up the win in terms of the overall point standings.
We always chase points. We're always looking at it. But there's a lot of racing left before this season's over, that's for sure. Tell you what, guys, got a pretty good crowd here tonight. I mean, it was so hot today. People came in awful late here at the Speedway, but looking pretty good out there right now.
Reminder for you open wheel fans, at the top of the hour, coming up next, we'll be headed to Texas Motor Speedway for IRL IndyCar action, the Bombardier Learjet IndyCar 550. Marty Reed, Scott Goodyear, Jack Arute and company, all down there and waiting in Texas. We'll be headed there at the conclusion of our NASCAR action here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Tell you what, that race at Texas and those Indy cars, just incredible. It sets up some of the wildest racing, wildest finishes I think I've ever seen in IndyCar history. So that's going to be a barn burner tonight, that's for sure.
Started tonight talking about how this race is an opportunity for drivers who have not won. In fact, some of the nationwide only drivers call it the Opportunity 300. We had a chance to have lunch with Brad Keselowski and some of the other young guns yesterday, and he said, you know what? He said, I've been wanting one of those guitars, which is the trophy here, for a long time. He said, I'm pretty good at Guitar Hero, but I don't have my own real guitar, and I could fix that here tonight.
He's 6th spot right here, and he's got a few spots ahead of him he can get. Got those 4 new tires.
Yeah, that trophy's awful unique. You know, those big old grandfather clocks they give it up Martinsville, Virginia. That's something the drivers always want, those big trophies of Bristol, Tennessee. They always want that. And this guitar, it's awful special too, that's for sure.
It's a Gibson guitar made right here in Nashville. They have a big display here. They make them over here at a mall at a Gibson factory. You can go in and look in the windows and watch them being built.
Rudeman's still consistently the fastest car on the racetrack.
As I just started to say, Andy, these new tires, I'm not seeing it do much for these guys back there. This track position, like you said, is everything in the world, and they've got it.
That's Bobby Hamilton Jr. He's talking to the crew chief, Chad Walter, on Landon Castle's car, the 5 car that they got together with.
Bobby Hamilton obviously not real happy. We saw the contact, and then a little while later we saw Hamilton going up across the racetrack into the wall. Speculation was that a tire or... Let's go down to Mike.
Bobby, obviously we weren't expecting you to go down in the 5 team. What'd you say to Chad?
I just thought him the driver doing a hell of a job.
Obviously Bobby Jr. doesn't really want to talk about it, guys.
Yeah, there's frustration there, and I don't blame him. I mean, this is his hometown. He had a really good run going on tonight, and him and Landon got together, and it looks like Bobby got the worst end of it. You know, just blew that right front tire out. And a lot of upset drivers because of that.
Chris Keselowski getting another spot from Scott Wimmer.
5th position, Keselowski. Wimmer, the winner here back in the spring.
Those 4 tires are working. Just takes a while to get to the front.
They're just not working as much as I anticipated. I thought maybe they picked 3 or 4 tenths a lap up, and I'm just seeing baby steps here. But where this can really change is late into, if the caution comes out again, those new tires cool back down. He gets right up under the bumper with those fresh tires.
Let's don't
That's
forget,
where it can work.
He's got enough fuel to get to the end now. Some of these guys may not.
And from late, this kid's got a pretty big right foot too, so I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, he doesn't care who's in front of him. He just wants to mow this field down and get his first victory. Got a lot of momentum, this kid does. Dave.
Guys, if David Rudiman can hang on for this victory, it's another win for Michael Waltrip Racing, an organization which right now is a mega operation. 2 Cup teams, nationwide team. But it started out as something much, much smaller. Jerry Baxter, not one of the originals, but one of the guys who was there early on when this team operated for Michael Waltrip out of a 3,500 square foot garage behind Michael's house. They call themselves 5 guys in a garage. They got some wins early with Michael. They continue on today, and it's an organization that has grown through the years to really mean something in this series.
And Dave, it took David Rudiman 63 starts to get his very first and only NASCAR Nationwide Series victory. Came last October, 27th at Memphis. It has been 17 races since then. Looking for win number 2, and it could possibly come right here again in the state of Tennessee. There is Scott Wimmer, and who had been passed for position back in 6th spot. Let's check in his pits with Jamie.
Scott Wimmer Swimmer holding tight. You know, he won the race here in March, and this team they're working their way to the front. We just checked in with them. They said, we are good to the end. And Scott actually said the car is getting better as the fuel burns off. He said the balance gets better, so he's happy with that car, and they can make it to the end, which not all the guys ahead of him can do.
Jamie, again, the top 4 drivers right here: Rudeman, Boyer, Strimmy, and Reagan, last pitted on lap 149. The 5th place car of Keselowski, he came back in on 185. He should be solid, but the 4 in front of him may not be.
They may not be. I'm sure some of them will make it. And if we have another caution, it'll give them some more insurance. So we know that Yate can make it.
One thing I'm watching right here, these cars are not as tight as they've been. I mean, they're spread out. Like, take a look at that right now. And when that happens, generally, that's kind of got the green flag look. And tell you what, I could be wrong on this one, that's for sure, because I'm pretty sure they're going to have some more caution flags. But this here just changed my mind. Jamie.
Well, David Stremme, they're saying to him, Dale Ferguson, his crew chief, said, you're doing a great job. We're actually about a lap and a half short. And if you remember, just about 15 minutes ago, they were 3 laps short. So he's doing his job behind the wheel. That 64 car, David Stremme. They're hoping, praying that they can conserve enough and stay out, because remember, they wanted to pit on that last opportunity, and they didn't. So they definitely took a gamble.
This is Stremme's 115th career start. His very first race, you know where it happened, folks? Right here at Nashville back in April of 2003, and he finished 7th. He has never gone to victory lane in a NASCAR Nationwide Series. And boy, would he love to get that tonight, not only for the team but the sponsors, but just because he has been so good at this racetrack and come so close so many times.
Now, this is kind of showing you that these guys, the front 2 guys, don't have near as much fuel as Brad Keselowski after making that pit stop on the last caution.
Yeah, I don't think Boyer or Rudeman, either one, would be smiling like that. They knew how much fuel was in the tank.
I just started to say, Rudeman and Boyer, they don't want to see this gas gauge, because they're going to run it to the baby stops anyway. But
well, that's our calculations to show what they should have on board. Obviously, the cars don't have fuel gauges.
I wish there was a way we could monitor the fuel flow in these cars, and I'm sure we can.
Oh, there is a way. NASCAR just won't let us do it.
So NASCAR won't let us do it, right?
Here's 8th spot.
I've always argued that point. I wish they'd let us do that.
Biffle and Bliss, and again, Greg Biffle will take the spot away from Mike Bliss, Ford and Chevy. He just joined our coverage back on lap 104. Greg Biffle spun coming out of turn 4. You see the damage on the right side of his car where he got under the outside wall, came down pit road for tires and a little sheet metal work, and kept the car on the lead lap, and is now pulling his way back toward the top 5. He's currently being shown in 8th position.
Greg Biffle, he's just been digging all night long.
I tell you, David Rudeman right now is just checking out on everybody. About 0.2 of a second faster than Clint Boyer and David Stremme. That's last time by.
Keselowski's a little bit quicker.
Keselowski's a little bit quicker than Rudeman, but he's just too far back right now. It's a problem. Dave.
And Rusty, I'd say that Brad Keselowski is 1 caution flag away from making this very, very interesting. Got fresher tires, very fast race car. And Pop Siri told me this morning, one of the improvements they've made on this car is how the power band relates to that spacer, that tapered spacer that's restricting the power in these engines these days. They've made big improvements since they last races here, and Pops thought they'd have improved horsepower in the car, and it's really felt that way all night long. Shannon?
Well, Dave, what a difference a year makes for Mike Wallace. Last year, he did not have 1 single top 10. Now he has 4. Bruce Cook said that Mike Wallace said he feels 22 again. This team is having a great run tonight. Currently 7th on the board. And guys, they can make it to the end on fuel.
Well, it's going to be tight for some cars, not for others, that's for sure. I tell you, those top 3 guys have got to be sweating it right now, because man, that's going to be tight on fuel if this thing goes green.
Another spot for Keselowski here.
And as these laps click away, guys, Brad Keselowski is now the fastest car on the racetrack. He is just rocking with that Navy Chevrolet. Does he have enough laps, and does he have enough time?
If he gets another caution flag, he's going to be looking great right now with those fresh tires and right on the bumper of Rudeman.
Again, a reminder for you open wheel fans, we'll be headed down to IndyCar action coming up next. The Bombardier Learjet IndyCar 550 coming your way at Texas Motor Speedway. Marty Reed, Scott Goodyear, and all the guys down there standing by for coverage from Texas. That's at the conclusion of our NASCAR Nationwide Series action here in Nashville, Tennessee.
There's an 8th place battle going on right there with Kelly Byers and Mike Bliss, our in-race reporter.
Well, there's a car right there, Bliss, who had a very strong car early. When the sun went down and this track got blacker, the handling went away just a little bit in that car. He's lost his track position and just holding on for 8th place right now, guys.
Yeah, he just lost his mojo there, like you said, about the time the sun went down. Looked like he had a winning car until then.
It really did. I mean, this track changed so big time when this sun went down, but I think the thing I noticed the most, Andy, was how black the track got.
Yeah, it got black real quick, too. I've not seen it get quite this dark. It took a lot of rubber tonight.
Yeah, what's that Kenny Chesney song, When the Sun Goes Down, We'll Be Grooving? That's exactly what they're doing. How about Kelly Byers there? Had a 5th place finish here back in the spring, and now he's grooving his way back to another top 10.
I see Brad Keselowski right there in that shot. He's running down Clint Boyer. He's a couple tenths a lap faster than the 2 car.
Keselowski's getting quicker and quicker, and Boyer and Rudiman are getting slower and slower.
Rudiman's got a pretty good lead on these guys. I don't think he's too much worried about the 88 car catching him if they don't have a caution. But I know it looks like the 88's going to catch Clint Boyer.
Oh, yeah, he's catching him big time right now. He's got a bullseye painted on the bumper to that 2 car, that's for sure. But David Rudiman's way out there in front right now. That's the problem for Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski was 4 tenths quicker than Clint Boyer that lap. He might have enough time to catch David Rudiman if it keeps going like this.
When we talked to Keselowski at lunch yesterday and said, how aggressive will you be to get your first win? And he said, even with all the Cup's regulars here, he said, whatever I have to do. Oh, and here comes the yellow flag.
Baby, this is going to change everything now.
52 car. Brad Teague spins out and will bring out caution for the 10th time tonight.
Well, I would say that the top 5 can probably make it on fuel now. Keselowski's going to have the best tires. And Rudiman's probably going, I can't believe this.
Well, you can almost expect it. You can see how it was going.
They were so spread out. That's the part I was concerned to me if they were going to have another caution because they just weren't close.
Well, this should make it very, very interesting. By the way, we are 1 shy of tying the record for caution flags in Nashville. It's his 10th caution. The record is 11. That's happened 3 times.
One thing I'd be worried about right here is these cars picking up that fuel on the restart. You saw how that played out in Darlington. You know, these guys being low on fuel, not getting going.
Absolutely, that is a concern. I guess the only thing that's better here, Andy, is that the straightaways are much flatter than a place like Darlington, a place like that. So it's not going to run away from the right rear corner of the fuel cell that bad like it would the other racetracks. Still something to think about, though. It's a good point.
Speaking of Mark Martin, who had the fuel issues in Darlington, he has given Junior Motorsports, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team, their only win. That coming early in the year at Las Vegas. But when he got the win with 4 laps to go, and there was contact between him and the 60 and the 88, and that took Brad Keselowski out of a chance of getting a victory. And that one has stuck with this young man for a long time. And I think the only thing that's going to push that one away, that sour taste, would be a visit to victory lane.
He's going to have his best shot of the year right here on this restart.
These guys just want to stand their caution just a couple more laps to make sure they can make it on field. Rudiman and David Stremme, Clint Boyer.
See all the leaders staying out. These are some of the lap cars coming in.
Restart will be inside of 10 laps to go, so it'll be a single file restart. There will not be any lap traffic down inside. Check in the David Rudiman pits with Dave.
Well, Doc, just an observation here, and based on some of the radio I was listening to, they told David, keep saving fuel. That, caution didn't come out, and okay, we're good now. I can, rev the motor and waste fuel. No. He's got to race hard now. He's got the 2 coming behind him. He's got the 88 with those fresher tires. They needed him to save some more fuel because they're going to have to go for it here at the finish of this race.
Well, these yellow flags certainly a blessing to that team, being able to say we might have a little bit left to race some folks with. There's the 1 car, Mike Bliss, being shown back in 9th position. He is our in-race reporter. Let's visit with Mike here with just under 10 laps to go.
Hey, Mike Bliss, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Man, you got to be loving this caution with 10 to go. It looks like you're going to be able to close up and maybe pick up a couple spots here.
Yeah, we just got real tight. We're not real good right now. We needed to get a rubber on the left rear. We took 2 tires that last stop, and that wasn't too good. But we were really contemplating on putting 4 tires on just now. But we'll try to get a top 10 out of this Ikasugi Chevrolet.
Mike, did your car change big time when the sun went down? It actually got dark out here. It looks like the track's blackened up a lot. Can you feel like that's really made your car a lot tighter?
That's a big 10-4 right there, Rusty. It got real tight.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, what about the fuel and picking up the fuel? Why don't we check down our ESPN Dish Tech Center with Tim Brewer just about how these fuel cells actually work in terms of pickup.
Thanks, Jerry. As you see the fuel cell sitting in the rear of the car right here, I spent a lot of time with Sid Waterman. He actually manufactures these fuel cells, and we put 3.5 gallons of fuel in here, and what it did, it came within 1.5 inches of this door when the fuel cell's sitting at a 5-degree angle, like the banking on the front straightaways here. So what the guys have to do is sling the car over to the right side. What they're trying to do is force the fuel over here in the right rear corner, and they have to pick up every bit of the fuel. But now it's a crapshoot. It just depends on how much fuel the drivers actually save to get them to the start-finish line. Jerry?
Thanks, Tim. It will be a roll of the dice. Okay, let me ask our experts up here. Who do you go with? A couple of veterans up front with worn tires and low fuel, or the youngster back there who's got fresh tires and a fire in his belly?
I like the track position that David Ruderman has right here. And if he's got enough fuel, I think he can pull this thing off.
You give me a couple more laps, I give you a better answer, okay?
No, I ask you now. All right,
I'm going to go with the youngster with the fire in his belly right now. I mean, he can see it. Brad Keselowski is so close to his first victory right now. He's just got to bonsai this baby. He's got the best tires. Go for it.
Whoa! Whoa! Looks like Boyer gets into him a little bit.
Here they go. Boyer on the inside of Ruderman. Here comes Keselowski. David Strimmy back there. Remember, he's never won either.
And I got to tell you, I think Keselowski's just going to plow himself right through this. I really think he's got a better car because of these tires.
Well, I think his chances just got better because Ruderman got rooted out of the way there.
2 of these drivers have won, 2 have never won. Remember the history here. First-time winners almost half the time in Nashville. Strimmy comes to the bottom, but so does Ruderman.
No, Strimmy moves Ruderman out of the way. And these guys are getting physical here.
Well, Ruderman's just been a pinball since the restart.
Oh, 7 laps to go. You got to do what you got to do. I realize it, but you can see it's really heating up right now.
Brad Keselowski, his 49th career start, said, I want to go to victory lane for Dale Earnhardt Jr., for my dad who did so much for me growing up, and for the Navy. So many folks here from his sponsorship tonight, but he's got one tough guy to pass in a veteran Clint Boyer.
He's got 6 laps to do it. He's right there. He's right on Boyer's bumper. Here he goes.
Here he goes on the inside. Watch Keselowski trying to get it done. Can he hang there?
You just got to clear him getting down to turn 1. You don't want to go in there side by side. Whoa, and this, he's color me gone right now. That's exactly what he needed. That clean air, better tires, all the gas he needs.
Oh, yeah.
5 laps to go.
I bet his heart rate just went up.
Well, I bet Dale Jr.'s heart rate just went up also. His car owner up there in Pocono watching this kid. And Pops sitting on that pit box, loving this kid right now.
6 of 14 races here in the history of this track have been won by first-time winners.
Dave. 4 to go.
None in the last 5 races. Oh, my. The family is here. His dad, his uncle, all from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Guys, you could see this coming for Keselowski. He's just had so much momentum, getting better and better every race.
That's his mom, Kay, up there cheering him on.
Got to be a proud mother right there, that's for sure.
She knows it was 10 years ago this month at the age of 14 that this young man got a chance to drive in quarter midgets back in 1998. He dreamed of having a career in NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt Jr. gave him a chance to drive a car. And tonight, in his 49th career start, if he can hang on 3 more laps, that dream will come through here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Guys, I talked earlier about this defining moments in your life, and this could be the moment for this kid tonight. Something changed, and change was the 4 tires and full of fuel. And you got to be proud for a kid like this. Doing so well, Andy.
What do you think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is thinking, sitting up in Pocono, watching this young man after how the frustrations flowed back in Las Vegas when he came so close but didn't quite get there?
He's feeling pretty smart right now for picking this kid to drive this race car because he's done an outstanding job all year long.
He really has. I remember when he said, I'm going to hire Brad Keselowski. I'm like, who? I haven't heard of this kid.
You've heard of him now.
You heard of him now, that's for sure. 2 laps to go.
Flag, babe. Give me one more.
White flag is waving.
Just like Dale Jr., this young man is a second-generation driver who followed in the footsteps of his famous father, Bob Keselowski, who was also a stock car champ. Bob in ARCA. Of course, Dale Sr. in NASCAR Sprint Cup. Final lap for the youngster from Michigan. Great battle for second spot there. Boyer trying to hold off David Strimmy, but the story up front is the 88 car coming out of turn 4. First-time winner in 2008, Brad Keselowski.
Looks like Strimmy gets second over Ruderman.
Well, it looks like Strimmy got in the back of Boyer just a little bit, moved him up the racetrack out of second place. Another good run for Strimmy.
Everyone represent Class X.
Look at these guys, boy. They're happy, aren't they?
Let's go down to Dave, who's got his mom, Kay. Dave.
Now, Kay, weren't you supposed to be spotting for your other son tonight, not up here cheering?
Yeah, well, that didn't quite work out. So, you know, I'll take this. This is, you know, the second best.
What is this like?
Oh, my God, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so thankful that I got to be here for his first win. Oh, my God, I am so grateful for this. So, it's amazing.
Head to Victory Lane is going to be even more amazing, Kay.
Everyone thought the day would be about Big Brown making history at the Belmont, but it was not to be. But tonight in Tennessee, it is Big Brad who made history as a first-time winner. And look at the emotion and the celebration on pit road.
This is the first big win for the Navy team, too.
You got to be proud for those guys. But you know what? This was an opportunity race, and Brad took the opportunity to win this race. He'll never forget this the rest of his life.
I don't think he's coming in until he runs out of gas. He's going to keep doing donuts.
And you can't blame him. Let's go down where Mike is caught up with Clint Boyer.
And Clint Boyer just got out of his car. And Clint, I know you were conserving fuel. How'd that affect the way you could drive those last laps?
We just missed it on the setup all night long. It's just unfortunate. Really proud of Brad Keselowski. That kid's, you know, he's been working on it, been inching in on it more and more, and finally got him one, so good for him.
Still a pretty good point night for you. Walk away with a really large lead. How are you feeling about your championship chances these days?
Yeah, I was, you know, feeling pretty good about it. That's why these Jimmy's wondering why he's back in the Nationwide Series. Is you know, the points leader like that, racing, just trying to hold him in position, and he's doing stuff like that. That's why.
Well, obviously you can tell that Clint Boyer a little bit upset with David Stremme. Shannon?
Well, down here with David Stremme, a second place finish for you tonight. David, tell me what happened with Clint Boyer there.
First of all, hats off to Brad and that Navy team. They deserve it. They did the right call there. We were having to conserve fuel so long, and it was easy on our tires, and I don't know what happened in 99. I think he run out, but the 2 was backing up too. And I had a run on him off of 2 coming to the checker, and he blocks me down backstretch. So then he goes in, and he didn't arc out, and he ends up stopping in the center corner, and I got into him. I mean, what do you want me to do? I got the 99 or whoever it was breathing down my neck. So, I mean, he's all right to do it to other people, but I guess he don't like it. I mean, what do you expect when you're blocking a guy? But anyways, everybody on this Rusty Wallace team's doing good. We just can keep contending for wins, and we'll pick us one up here the next couple weeks.
Congratulations, David. Second place run for David Stremme. Great finish for that team here today. Doc?
How bad did Stremme want it? And how about this young man? How badly did he want to go to victory lane? He will remember this night for the rest of his life. The 88 at the top of the board. 7th first-time winner here at Nashville Superspeedway. Guys, final thoughts.
I just can't get over the job that Brad Keselowski has done here, and I know that Dale Jr.'s got to be so proud of this guy.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to pick anybody else. I'm picking Keselowski. I mean, again, I think of defining moments. I think of opportunity. He did all that tonight.
Let's go down to victory lane where Dave Burns is standing by with our first-time winner here in 2008.
Tony Eury Sr. is inside, and everybody's telling him congratulations. We'll Give Brad a little moment here to get that steering wheel off. Still getting unbuckled. He was doing burnouts all the way into victory lane. Surprised a few people who were standing down here, revving the motor and burning some more rubber as he was coming in here. And as we're, the guitar's already here in victory lane. And Brad, we're waiting on you. Jump out and celebrate as soon as you want to, buddy. He is ready to go. And they're going to douse him big time. You know, that guitar may suffer a little from a little liquid right here. Gatorade works good as the official beverage to throw here in victory lane. It works good on the guitar. It works good in the hair. And here is the winner, my friend. Your first victory in the Nationwide Series. What does this feel like?
It's awesome. You know, come a long ways to get here, and I owe a lot of people to be here. And you know, I got to thank everyone that got me here, gave me the opportunity, and didn't you know, stayed believing in me. There's a lot of them. Dale kept me in this car when I had bad weeks, and now I got a good week to you know, show him he's right, and I really appreciate that. I got to really thank Dale and the Navy for giving me the opportunity. You know, this is it. This is what I've been dreaming of my whole life, and there's a lot of people to thank for it. And some of them didn't make it to this point, and you know, I'd like to thank them first. But man, just really proud of everyone on my team. This is what we've been fighting for and what we need, and we're going to go run for that title now that we got this win out of the way.
Brad, talk about how strategy sort of flip-flopped in the middle of this race, and you stayed out perhaps when the crew chief didn't want you to, and then it all worked out. How'd that happen?
Well, you never know how these deals are going to work out. We made a guess. It worked out. We finally called a break. You know, all these races we had a shot at winning where we didn't catch a break. We caught a break where we got a yell with 10 to go, and jundled us back up, and we're able to take advantage of it.
It was a day of breaks, and you realize your mom was on the pit box today instead of spotting for your brother who didn't make the race.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad they could be here. Really proud of them.
All right, big win today for Brad Keselowski, #1 in the Nationwide Series for him tonight.
Gotta love seeing a first-time victor.
Absolutely, and this didn't surprise anyone. We all expected Brad Keselowski to get to victory lane. He's a solid young race car driver doing a great job. Congratulations to old Brad Keselowski.
Another opportunity race next Saturday night at the Kentucky Speedway, an NASCAR Nationwide Series on ESPN2, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Next Saturday night. Hope that you'll be with us. Next, it's off to Texas Motor Speedway and the Bombardier Learjet IndyCar 550. Brad Keselowski, your winner tonight here in Music City.